in yet? I've still not heard from Chris. He said he's trying.
She's still trying to get in.
Okay. Okay. Who is wanting to share first? So we've got top learnings, maybe about yourself, maybe about your business, maybe about your business acumen. Who would like to share first?
Yeah, can I share first?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think two things reinforced with me yesterday. One was that it's the critical few, not the trivial many, and it just refocused that. And then the second part is your chances of success are 75% greater with a plan and working on it and holding yourself accountable or being held accountable.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I go next?
Yep.
I think for me, it makes sense to keep the vision, your mission, and your purpose simple for everyone to understand, not just for you to understand. I mean, even if when you're exiting the business, the next person who's going to take it over needs to know where you were at and where you're coming from and stuff like that for him to make that decision of whether he wants to take it on as well. So I think keeping it simple, your vision, your mission, your purpose is really important. That's a big key thing I took from the first day.
Absolutely. Love it, Tanya. That's a huge takeaway. You will keep that forever. And if someone like Mark, a young lad, remembers that, that will, just make such a difference to your business, because that's the fuel, that's the petrol of your business, is the vision, the purpose, the mission, that, what you're actually there for, what your why is. That's the fuel. That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you focused. Awesome. Love it, Tanya. Absolutely love it. Who else wants to share? Damien, you're unmuted.
I've got I just really learned I need to train and motivate my staff. So obviously I want to keep them up to speed with all the latest products and try and get them motivated to do a bit of selling on the job.
Yeah. What about, let's call them team as well?
Yes, team. Yes.
It really feels quite different to them when they're referred to as team, because they are your team.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Who else wants to share?
I will.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose I'm inspired to understand how the actual business works, all the inside stuff now. Really want to get into, your cost of your sales, and looking forward to moving forward with it all. That's what I got out of it.
Great. Fantastic. And it is exciting. And the more you deep, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the more you can impact it. Which is exciting. And Paul would have the same as me. People we've worked with for years, their business acumen just goes up and up and up and up. So they get more and more granular and find more and more opportunities every year that they can improve their business. It doesn't stop. It's always working, like our body, like our mind. We're always working on it. That Kaizen, continual improvement. Awesome. I'm excited that you're motivated. That is wonderful. But music to our ears. Very good. Who else? Mark?
Yeah, I found just re-listing out the goals was very important, but also just I've seen the whole picture with the business so much that when Dad was writing down the goals, that I didn't realise that what he had in his head, I needed to know as well. And we discussed that yesterday.
Yeah, that is a really big one.
So we're getting a big list together, and we still need to work our way through it.
Yes. Yeah. And how much clearer is it if you're understanding what's on the list, who's accountable, and what time is that, that outcome that you're wanting to have achieved, when you're wanting to have achieved it by, and what standard is that to?
Yeah, and when you say who's accountable, I think the gap there at the moment is finding the right person, I suppose, to help you complete that action. so to speak, you know.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's an interesting point, because remember Paul was talking about personality profiling and psychometric profiling. And when you look at the personality of different team members that you have, if someone's not working on a job or they're not achieving a goal, maybe that's not conducive to their personality. Maybe it's not suited to them. So, you know, I've had people that say, well, hopeless at debt collection, and they were not a people person. They didn't feel comfortable with it. Whereas you get someone who's comfortable with a bit of dominance and comfortable with dealing with people and delegating that to them, the job gets done easily. So looking at the goals, have we got the right personality accountable for whatever that is? You know, is it a creative person that's updating your website? Is it an attention to detail person who's doing your bookkeeping? Is it a dominant person who's running the workshop? You know, have we got that right mix? Because if we've got someone accountable to something and then they're not quite the right person, then that can impact the outcome. Awesome. Who else would like to share? Rick?
There we go.
Yep.
Got me.
Got it.
So top 5 things, just listing opportunities, known opportunities, setting the goals for those to make them happen.
Mm-hmm.
Listing strengths and weaknesses, understanding why we're different to our competitors. Definitely many holes within what we do today where we're missing. So it's creating strategies to be able to fill those opportunities, which I can see plenty in what we do currently. And last one was to involve the team together and unite our team together and make sure they understand where we're going and the direction and why we do it.
Yeah, and they'll be excited about it and they'll be motivated by it.
Yeah. Now they already are. So I came back last night before I went home just to catch them before the end of the day. And they're all excited. They're all interested in what I was up to. So it's good.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, when we work with teams, you know, a few months later, they're like, oh my God, it's so exciting working with, you know, the boss now is so motivated and it's great because we're part of something that's really exciting. And that's great because it means that they're ignited, you know, as well to go forward.
Yep, that's good.
So wonderful. Bevan, you must have had some takeaways from yesterday.
There we go. Unmuted. So my number one would be vision, because if you don't have a vision, first of all, you've got no direction, and then you've got ask the question, what's the point? If you don't know what you want to achieve, why are you there? You need to have some vision. Number 2, getting the right people on board. Number 3 would be taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility. Like a lot of business owners that I've spoken to, they think somebody else is responsible for the success of their business. It's their accountant or it's their sales team. It's like, come on, people, this is your business. You're the one in charge. Number 4 was financials, and the final one was going back and reviewing and refining your business plan. Because if you've just got it for these 2 days, then that's really not much good. It has to be a live document that continues to grow. Absolutely.
As I say to people, there's not much point, you know, in having a beautiful plan for a house if you're not actually going to build the house. You know, it's useless if you're not going to actually go ahead and implement it. And then if you don't maintain the house, similarly, that beautiful plan for that beautiful house that wasn't maintained will fall apart, the same as a business. You have a plan for it, you implement it, and then you must maintain and act on it. So fabulous. Lisa, what about you?
I think for me, the planning helps me focus just on being like more efficient. Certainly, I agree with Tanya when she was saying about the vision and mission statement. Make it smaller, and that sort of like frames the context of your outcomes a little bit better. But definitely for me, smooth out. I need to smooth out my cash flow somehow. And learn lots more about the financials. That's where my big gap of knowledge is.
Great. Well, that's where your opportunity is.
Yeah, so it's where my opportunities definitely.
Yeah.
But I also think for me, it's I plan to share my business plan with my major client, and it's an opportunity to get a professional looking document that, will show how we can move together and what my plans are in the future. I think there's certain advantages in doing that.
Great. Brilliant. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Catherine, we've got you in. Well done to you.
Thank you for that.
And I love your screen at the back. I'm hoping that Renee will somehow or rather magically get Chris and Aaron in, because they're both trying to get in too. So
Mine was hardware issues, so it was not the Zoom link. So,
yeah. Okay. So what was your top takeaways from yesterday? You missed everyone's briefing, but I'm sure you'll have a couple of things that have come to light overnight.
Major breakthrough.
Woohoo!
I couldn't believe it. I left thinking it's, as I said to Paul, it's like a first draft of a novel.
Yeah.
I'm coming from businesses that were disruptive with COVID dramatically. I've restructured and I'm thinking go through one step at a time. And then I just looked at some things and I thought, no, they're just going to get scratched off immediately.
Good.
And then there were other areas I just thought, yeah, that's more where I'm moving. So I'll probably redo everything I did yesterday, at least 75%, but it's okay. It's
fine.
Such a good move forward. I haven't been this excited for ages.
Woohoo! I'm very excited for you. That's great. And breakthroughs are amazing. When you realise that the model's not the right model you want and you want to go in a different model, that changes the direction, and you'll look back and you'll see that was that pivotal moment I had that change, and what a difference it makes.
Yeah.
What a difference it makes to your business. So much, such a big difference. And there is those moments in life when you have that. I mean, I've been struggling away writing my book for 10 years of our life's journey, had 80,000 words, and then spoke with a book coach, and she said to me,
There you are.
I think you're doing the wrong book. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, what are you most passionate about? I said, I'm most passionate about business planning. She said, you got to join them together, love. And I'm like, oh, back to 0 words.
Yeah.
But that was instrumental change. That was
I'm trying to see how to turn it on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
There we are.
When you get them, they're important. So who have we got here? Chin. Okay, there we go. I've stopped the noise. Hopefully we'll get to see someone there. I wonder who that is. Do you know who that is? Paul? Have we got a random coming?
I think it's Damien is talking.
No, Damien's a different screen.
Might be
who
Chris.
I've got.
I'm saying I'm a random.
Okay, who have you got in?
John.
This is John from Exa Pro. He's in his wife's account.
And can he put a camera on? Does he have a camera?
I think he's trying to.
Okay, and have you found Chris and Aaron? Renee?
No, I'm trying. Aaron's on his way into the office.
Okay, all right. So can we hear from you, John? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, before we start, can you give us a 30-second rundown on your top takeaways or breakthroughs from yesterday or learnings?
Can you hear me now? Can you?
We can hear you fine. We'd love to see your face, but we can hear you.
Well, I just spent the last half an hour trying to work out how this Zoom works. I'm a bit frazzled and.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll just let you sit and settle for a little while and we'll come back to you. Would you prefer that?
I'm going to see if I can work out how to put my video up and some of those sort of things.
Yep. Okay. So we'll get started. So if I'm going to share my screen with everybody. I'm going to share my screen. So what we're basically going to be doing, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be identifying our market. What is the market that we're basically playing in? And what is our market share of that market? How big is our pie? Then we're going to look at building profits and look at then reviewing our financials and building our profit, and then looking at the strategies that we need to do to achieve the goals that are aligned with the financials and aligned with the goals. And then at the end, we'll get clear on, okay, what are the key strategies that I'm going to do to achieve my goals what are the financial outcomes, so that then you walk out of your office knowing these are the goals for quarter 1, these are the strategies, these are my numbers, so that you're fully aligned, and quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's what we're going to be looking at today. So the first thing that we want to look at is our market share. How big is the pie that we're actually, taking a bite of? How big is our pie of our market that we're dealing in? And looking at saying, what is that industry and what's my market share? And, what are the trends? Do we have trends in our market, in our industry? So Renee has emailed you your, what we feel is your IBIS World login, your IBIS World, your IBIS World code. So this is a website that gives you an overview of your industry, your sector. So we're looking at how big is this industry that you're dealing with, that you're part of. So if everyone can log in to IBIS World, and Renee will have emailed you what she feels is your industry code for your industry. And then what you'll end up with is a page like this that will tell you how big your industry is and where it's set to go and what sort of growth your industry has. And it's interesting to see, this is, often a pivotal moment of people's awareness when they realise how big their market is and how small a piece that they actually want out of it, or how big a piece they actually do have. Now, with this IBIS World site, you have to buy a report if you want to unlock some of the future growth projections. But if you, I'm pretty sure Renee will have emailed you, if you email Small Business Development Corp, they will give it to you. Well, we've found since COVID, they've been sending us links to the report for 24 hours for individual business owners when they ask, without paying for it, because they have access to it. So you don't need to pay $1,000 for the report. But often in this first paragraph, it will actually give you the size and the projected growth of your industry. So Catherine, did you not get an email from Renee?
No, not for this.
Okay, so it was one email. It had our run sheet for today.
Sorry, it's the one I forwarded, Catherine, under my login, under my email that had the Zoom link on it. It's beneath that.
Okay.
But sorry, I couldn't find an IBIS code for your business. So we need to have a chat about what's going to be suitable. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so that might be challenging. I've just seen Chris come in. Welcome, Chris. We just did a sharing, and so you've not really missed out on much other than the sharing, but this is recorded so that people will be able to go back and watch it. I'll send the recording to everyone. But we're just starting the first section. We're looking big picture of basically the playground we're playing in. How big is our industry? That's what we're looking at. And we will, have you got the email from Renee, Chris? Everyone's got that saying what the IBIS code is?
I think so.
Yep, okay. So IBIS World is the industry leader in giving out industry statistics and industry numbers. And it's important to know where you are in your industry and how big your industry is. So if the code is wrong, you can search for another code. And if you want to have access, if it's of interest or relevance to you, if you want to have access to the full report, you can email Small Business Development Corp and they'll give you access for, I think, generally 24 hours.
Sorry, Susan, so with the report that has come up now, what am I actually doing with it? Do I need to download?
Okay. So, yep, you're just so fast. You're one step ahead. So What we're looking at, and we're going to log into the planning system in a minute, but a few things that are really important is we're looking at how big is the revenue of that industry. What's the size? You know, how big? Is it billion or million? So how big is this pie? We're looking at what is the annual growth of that industry at the moment. So are we in a growth sector or are we in a sector that's declining? How many people does it employ? How many businesses are there? And we're looking at what's the projected growth of it. And the definition of the industry, what industry you're part of.
And this is in the report.
Yep. So can you see my slide that I've got here?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we've got an explanation of this is building. So we've got in construction, we've got an explanation of the industry up here. We've got the revenue is 204 billion. We've got annual growth is 10.5% from 2012 to 2017. We've got employing 262,000 people and businesses 67,000. This is locked, but it does say over the next 5 years to 2022, there's projected growth. So you've got most of the information you need from here.
Okay, so this is the screen that we're meant to get when we put in the code.
Yes, they change it all the time, but that's the gist of what you will get. Yes.
1 moment.
So we're wanting to know how much revenue is in your industry, how many people, and what the projected growth is. And you may be in more than one industry. You may be in more than one sector.
I'm getting a different screen coming up totally.
Okay, they're probably just update. This is a slide. I'm not live. I've got a slideshow. So
yeah, when I put in my report number, my code, it comes up with corporate travel services in Australia, market research report updated on the 10th of Feb 2021, which is giving me quite a lot of information, but it's all locked.
Yep, that's fine. It will give you enough information for what we want. Or while you're there, email the email that Renee sent you is the Small Business Development Corp's email address if you would like the full report.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is keep that screen open of your IBIS report, and we're going to log into our planning system, and we're going to take out of that the key information that we need for our plan. So in the planning system, we're going into the section of sales, industry, and market overview. And it's such a critical thing that most business don't do. They don't understand how big is the sector that they're in, how much money, and where is the sector going? Are they in a growth sector or not? So this is the screen that we're going to be having in the platform: industry, sales, and market overview. Now then, once we've got that open, we've got a little drop-down menu that you can copy and paste, Control-C and Control-V, the information that's relevant from the IBIS world to put in here. So basically you've got an industry description, which is generally in part of the body of the information in IBIS world, and the trend, what it's trending. And you Control-C and Control-V that, copy and paste that into here, this section where it's got trends. And then in the section where it's just one line, so you might have more than one industry, you might have two, you might be in two different industries. We've got the name of the industry, and here it's got annual revenue. Now in this one it's 8, and this code here is BN for billion and M for million. So it should tell you how much money is in your sector. And then the next one is the historic growth, that's the past growth of your sector. And then the projected growth of your sector. So the projected growth of your sector is often in the body of the text, giving you the description of your industry, but it can also be locked sometimes. So that might be one to just click that email off and say, I'm in a planning workshop, I'd like access to the full IBIS code report. Because you're a small business, they should give it to you, but they won't. I can't get it for everyone because it's like $1,000 a report or something that they charge.
Hi, Suzanne, sorry.
Yes.
It looks like it's locked for our one, for the security one. Who do we have to email?
In the email that Renee sent you this morning, down the bottom, I'm pretty sure she put the email. I think it's support@SBDC, Small Business Development Court. Have a look at the email Renee sent you, and you can just click on that email address because that'll be right.
All right, cool.
And then how many people it actually employs and how many outlets. Now, if this is a challenge for you, we can help you with, I can help go and add stuff in afterwards. The whole point of this is around your mindset, around understanding how big is your industry and how much money is flowing around in that industry. And this is really, really important because it can totally change people's mindset when they see, wow, my industry is actually really big. I've only got to move it by 0.2% and it will change my world. It's also a mindset shift when we understand where the industry is placed, where it's going. Am I in a growth sector or am I not in a growth sector? So who's got this information that we want? Who's got their industry? Rick, have you got yours? Unmute.
Yeah, I've got it, but I missed you. I'm just having trouble with the computer here, so
okay.
I sort of fell behind right at the first step.
Okay, so have you got ibisworld.com.au open?
Yeah, I've got it, and I found our code there.
Okay, so you've got your code, so everyone's got their
Where
code.
was I plugging in the details? That's what I missed.
That's okay. So we're in here. We are in the section of the plan. We are in go-to area and go sales and go industry market overview.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to do it on one screen at the moment, which is
that's okay.
Backwards and forwards.
So industry market overview, and then we're typing in the name of our industry. And then we're looking at how much is the annual revenue? What is the annual revenue? And this code is billion or million.
Yeah. So where's that on there?
So if we go into your code and look down, it should have in IBIS World, it should have, and make sure it's .com.au because we're in Australia, it should have how many people are in your industry. You should be able to get most of this information. The only one you generally find is locked is this one, projected growth.
Right.
So how can I help other people? How is everyone going with this? How about Mark and Gary? How are you going? Have you got your industry information?
Yeah, we've got it up.
Yep.
Only one we can see locked is the average industry profit margin.
Okay, yep.
There's one either side of that. Oh, no, there's plenty more locked there.
How did we unlock it again? Or do we need to unlock it?
It costs about, I think they charge close to $1,000 for the report, but the Small Business Development Corp since COVID have been giving them to clients for nothing. I can't get them. You have to, as a small business, in the email that Renee sent this morning, she's put the email address and I've had lots of people get access in the workshop. So I just flick them an email now and say, can you please send me a link? It'll only be valid for today. Send me a link to have access to ibisworld.com.au for your industry sector.
Okay, and that's all we have to say, really? We don't have to associate saying that with you?
No, they just, you're a small business and it's COVID and they do that.
I've just got
I've not had anyone not get it yet, access yet. So
I've just got an automated reply saying, okay, it will take, due to high demand, we are taking longer than usual to reply to the emails.
okay, well, they should reply today. If not, you'll get it in the next day or so and you can put it in there. But this is all about looking at how you see your industry and you see your sector and looking at it in a bigger picture, looking at the whole picture of where you sit. And when we go back to that mindset and that slide of, you know, accountable, responsible and ownership, looking at how small a piece of that pie that you want and what you can take ownership and be responsible for is massive when you look at your industry. So who needs help with getting this information in? And remember, if we go on to the next one here, this is where we copy and paste the description from the details in the IBIS in your section. So how's everyone's going? Lisa, how are you going? Yours would be an interesting sector. You're muted. Unmute.
Yep. Mine are all locked. I can take some of the major points out of there, but that's about it. But I have emailed them and asked for access.
So what can you get? Can you get, what sector are you in? Mining consulting or mining?
Mining consulting doesn't exist. I've got an engineering consulting and I'll find one for exploration as well. I suppose one interesting thing I've got is that there's no major players with a market share greater than 5%.
Well, that's an interesting fact.
It is, isn't it? That's about all I can find. There's nothing on it. Everything else is crossed out, like all money and
okay. So that's what does that mean for you?
Well, I intuitively know it that small players are becoming more and more used. Yeah, some of the big consulting firms, you know, are down to, a few of them I know are down to less than, you know, technical people, 5 or 6 technical people.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Independent consultants are becoming more industry accepted.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And what about others? What else have people got from this so far? Have you got, who's got their industry? Chris, have you got your industry?
No, I haven't found it yet.
Okay, so you're in IBIS World?
ibisworld.com.
Yep, .au.
Well, I've tried that. I kept on taking me back to just .com.
Okay, so it's not getting you into who's in .com.au?
Hey, I'm in it.
Yep. Anyone else?
It's .com/au, I think.
Right.
Because that's the Australian is the industry that we're in.
It keeps on going back to .com.
That's weird. That's very strange. Who else has got .com.au?
I have.
Lisa, what's yours? What was that?
Mine is ibisworld.com/au.
Yeah, okay. Maybe clear your cookies and try it again, Chris, because it's the Australian market that we're in.
My revenue code is grey and it won't let me press whether it's me in the billions.
Yeah, because they want you to part with $1,000. That's why.
Oh.
But you can get there's a lot of information you can get without buying the report. And as I said, just flick the email and try and get it anyway. You should get it today, no problems anyway. What information have you got, Belinda, of your industry?
7 billion, 22,500. Just have to go back to where it was, and employees 39,000.
Right. Okay, so you've got most of the information. Okay, so can everyone enter what information they have got in to the platform? So enter what they can and copy and paste, Control C and Control V what they can, and hopefully you'll be able to get the report for any gaps. Also, Renee's also sent you the link to the government site to get your report. There's a government site that you can get your benchmarking reports. So that will give you your average industry benchmarks. As in gross profit, as in your certain ratios, revenues, and that will help you as well with looking at your industry. So I'll give everyone a couple of minutes to finish entering all of this till we go on to the next section.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can't see any numbers on my report.
Okay.
It's metal cladding, but none of the players that are listed I recognise.
Okay, so which report? So you're looking up the ibisworld.com.au.
Yeah, there's a /au/industry
Okay.
/metal cladding, waterproofing, scaffolding services.
And so have you got, so you've got the name of the industry. Have you got any numbers of how much is in that industry?
No, it doesn't. It only gives number of businesses.
Yep.
Industry employment 44,000.
Yep. Okay, so you've got some of the information. Are you also in two sectors as well? Because then is your other
opportunity is something completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could be in two sectors. So you could add that the second industry in as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I could.
So that would be in somewhere in the mining support sector or something like that.
Yep.
So flick an email if you want to unlock.
I try. I flicked an email. I got the same sort of response that got overwhelming.
Yeah, that's just an auto response. It'll come back to you.
Yeah.
So what information can you get? So you can get how many people, you can get the description, and the only thing you can get the growth, can you, and the employment?
Yeah, it says growth is expected to decline.
Okay, yep. All right, we've got laughing from Mark and Gary there. Are you in a decline 1, 2?
No, they are relying a lot on the COVID situation. They say if the COVID comes good, then they see a change for the better.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're still locked as well. We can't exactly see everything.
Can't get any more detail. We haven't got our pass.
And the other site that Renee sent you the link to, the benchmark report, who's clicked on that yet? Has anyone clicked on that? Because that may give you a little bit more information. Loueth, you're back.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So where did you drop out? Because
I don't know. It just glitched from the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But we've got you now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on in a little second. So
do you want me to take Loueth into a breakout room and get her caught up on where we're up to?
Yeah, that's just one whole section, so we can catch her up on that later. Okay. That's fine. It's only one section. Same with Aaron. Aaron, welcome.
Yeah, bloody love computers technology when they don't work. Anyway,
okay. All right. Well, Well, we will just be accepted that you're here, and we're glad to see you. So we've just about finished one section, and we can catch you up on that later. And this is recorded, so there's no problems there. So we're going to move on to the next section. Basically, what we've done is we've looked at our industry and how big our industry is and how much money is in our industry. Now, I've given you some tools and some links and some insight into gleaning more information for your industry. But everyone's got enough to work on that and to fill in any gaps or any extra research that they need to do. So the next section we're looking at is, if you can go back into your plan, we're in the go-to area under sales, and we're under industry products. So we're looking at saying, what are the products in our industry? So Lueth and Aaron, who just came in, if you weren't in the last section, you won't have filled out what your industry is. So if you can just type in here under go-to area and sales, what your industry is, the name of your industry. So you're both in the platform.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay, so you're logging into the planning platform. So this is where you want to go, sales and industry market overview, and write the name of your industry. And then what we're doing now is we're deciding, okay, of that industry, what are my main product groups in that industry? Do I just have one product group or multiple product groups?
Right.
Now, for those that have not used Zoom before, there is a little hand that you can put up, or a little thumbs up to say you're right, to move on. So it might help if we use that, because if you've entered your industry products and I know you're good to go, then we can move on. So has anyone used the little hand before?
Yes.
Where is it? Where's the little hand?
It's down the bottom, and it's just a little, like a thumbs up or a little hand.
Reactions?
Yeah. Oh, we got a
Oh yeah. Okay.
Does that mean you're frightened, or does that mean you're ready? See, that's what I wanted, Belinda. You got a thumbs up. So you put your industry products in. Yep. Yep.
Am I just saying like spray painting or panel beating, or am I saying?
Yep, if you've only got a couple of product groups, that's it.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
So it's just looking at what are these product groups that you've got. You might only have 1 or 2, or you might have 3 or 4. I think, Rick, you've got 3, you said. You have your parts, you have your service, and you have your bikes. So what are the different product groups that we all have?
So I had 5 there.
5, okay.
Do I put parts and accessories together, or do I separate them?
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yep. Okay. I'm good.
Just looking at your different product groups. Okay, so I'll move on. So now we're looking at, say, okay, we've looked at the big picture of the world of our target market. We've said what's the industry that we're actually in, and now we've looked at saying, well, what's our product groups? What's our industry we're in? And now we're looking at saying, who is that ideal buyer of ours? Who is that ideal buyer when they're looking at buying from us? Do we know who they are? It's important to know who our ideal target market is and the description of them. So we're back into the sale. We're still in the sales section. So we're looking at saying, well, what are these segments of my ideal client? And then the next one that we're working in is, what are their needs? Because when we're looking at marketing and communicating to our target market, we need to know what are their needs, and we need to know what is the actual description of that segment, because then we need to know where we're going to communicate to them. So the first one is the customer segment. So are your customers segmented by business type, by gender, by ownership, industry type? If you've got a couple industry types, like this one's got industry type homeowners and industry type contractors. So what are your different segments of customers? Who are they? So break them up into the different segments. And then once you've done that, then you can look at what are the needs that they all want. And then work through that. And this is important for understanding for your marketing, for when you're communicating with your target market. We need to know who they are and what are their needs, because marketing is about communicating and educating that you can solve their problem or solve their need. That's what it's about. So I'll mute myself and give everyone maybe, oh, how long? We're up to, I reckon I'll give everyone maybe about five minutes for this, and just call me if there is a question or a challenge. Not call me, I mean, ask me, put your hand up. I'm not going anywhere.
Suzanne.
Yep.
Just suggestions on how I would segment mine. So I quite easily break them up into what sort of rider they are, what they're looking to do with the product.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's hard to actually identify exactly who they are.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of age, they can be young to old, male, female.
Mm-hmm.
Employment status, so it doesn't really, I suppose you want them employed so that they've got money, but
yeah. So a really good question, and it's relevant for everybody in the room, and it's saying, okay, so anybody could buy a motorcycle. So it's really anybody, the same as Damien, anybody can have security. But what we're looking at saying is, if we know who your segment of your target market is, then
Yeah.
when we communicate to them and educate them, we can speak to them. Now, say as an example, a young guy who's 19 years old wanting a fast motorcycle is a totally different target market to my husband David, 65, who's been riding motorbikes all his life. They're a totally different target market. So the message to someone like David, a 65-year-old motor enthusiast, is going to be totally different to a young 19-year-old who's buying his first motorcycle.
Yeah.
So they have different needs.
So do I break that down by just age as a segment? So as age segment?
Well, it's up to you to think about, like, if you look at all of your clients, you could generally break most of your customers up into different groups.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, what are my main groups and how have I defined them?
Yeah.
So it might be, young males under 25 might be one group, and they're defined by their age. And so in here, we put probably, this is a screen, so I can't do a drop down to show you, but I would define that and then write the description in there that it's defined by their age and their sex or whatever. And then you might put another one, which is, another segment might be the guys that are going through the change of life, the 40 syndrome, where they buy motorcycles because they think they're getting old. That might be a different target market. So choosing maybe top 5, maybe when you look at who buys off you, look at what are those different segments and how are they actually, what defines them.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And same with Belinda. Like Belinda, anybody is a client of yours potentially for panel beating, but there would be, when you look at all the clients that come to you, you would be able to define them into different groups. Because if we're putting communication or education out to that group, and we're just saying everybody, if you're communicating any kind of marketing out there and haven't defined who that group is and who the need is and the problem of that group, no one will hear us. Because we're not speaking their problem and solving their problem. So that's why we need to define who are these target markets, what are we segmenting them by, and a full description of that, and then turning over to say, well, what are their needs? And in those needs section, in this needs section, you could put, if you wanted to, the need of these different groups, which ones relate to which. So who else has got some questions around this? It's the why behind everything we do. It's the why, it's the use of it and the learning behind it. Because when you're starting to work on your marketing, you'll go back and go, these are my target markets, right? I've already identified that. I've identified their needs. Now, where's the biggest dollar value from this target market?
Now, Suzanne,
Yes.
With this customer needs, I understand that.
Yep.
On the computer,
mm-hmm.
That's just generally for the business, because I'm thinking, well, I'm still going through my products, but even the collection I have different target markets.
Yeah, yep. So what's your question?
How do you physically put it in? Because it's not like it's relating to each product.
No. So basically, what I find works better is you define who are your customer segments. So you might have, 5, as we've got here in this example. So we've got 5 different segments.
Yeah.
And so then we go into the customer needs, and this first one is price. So I might put the under 25 sector, also the geriatric sector, or the educated, the non-for-profit sector are all price focused. So I'll put them under price. Then I might go under, I'll choose another one and go, okay, well, this speed these different groups are interested in speed. That's really important to them. And so we're putting the description of who needs these, which sectors are really needing these top areas that they need to focus on. So that when we're communicating our marketing, we can look back and go, okay, well, these were the sectors that were price need focused, these that were quality focused, these were you know, had other different needs.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. Thank you.
Just so that it's bringing together where your marketing and where your communication is going to focus.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just trying to put it in the system. It's just, yeah. Okay.
It'll be easier for you to do it that way, because then you've got them bunched, you've clarified that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Who else is having questions in their mind?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question relating that same area. I went to the customer segment and I had 3 different types. I had high ownership.
Yep.
People high-end homes.
Yep.
And then I got another segment is builders and contractors and fit out businesses that employ my services to do a part of their contract. And I got others as an individuals who seek the services of a router who just say, I need something cut out. Can your router do this?
Yep.
But I go back into customer needs descriptions and how do those two link? Because the drop downs don't.
Yeah, they don't. It's designed so that it can be based on what you want, so that then it's not fixed. So if you've got 3 different sectors, so you would look down and say, okay, what are the main needs? What's the top need of these different sectors? And then up to you whether you want to write down in here the 2 or 3 sectors are price driven as number 1. And this sector, 2 or 3, write the details in that they are driven by, speed of service. So then just write down in the description of those customers that need that.
Okay. All right.
And then it's nice and simple when you're doing any marketing, because you can go back and go, okay, these sectors, number 1, driver is price. These sector is speed, and you can put their details in there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's all right. So when people are done, let me know, or if there is any more questions, let me know. Chris, I've got a very good picture of your forehead. It's lovely. Ah, there's your face. How are you going? I'll unmute.
Still trying to catch up, I think.
That's okay. So have you got in here have you chosen your segments?
No.
No. Okay. So what are your main segments that you are dealing with? Is it 3 or 4? What are the main different customer segments?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. So when you think about all the people that you've built over the last year, think about what are the categories that they will come into. Are they builders? Are they developers? Are they homeowners? Think of the top segments.
Yeah, probably 3 or 4.
Okay, great. So they're the ones that you put in there, and then define.
In which section though?
Well, have a look at what best describes them. Is it a business type? Is it a gender? Is it an industry type? And then put the description of that in the description.
Industry products?
No, in this, I'm in this section here. Can you see my screen?
I can't see the top of your screen.
You can't?
Not the top, I just changed something.
If you go down to the bottom of your screen and click on it, you should be able to see my screen.
I can see the screen, but only from home ownership downwards.
Okay, so you can't see the top. Is everybody else the same, or can everyone see my screen? Hold on. Everyone can see my screen? Yep.
Yes.
Yep, everyone. Okay, so it must be yours then, Chris. Yep. Everyone can see it. So it must be I would say the size of your screen just needs to be minimized, or you need to just scroll up. That's what it'll be. So if you click on where my screen is,
yeah, got it now.
Yep. So we're in sales and customer segment. So choose those top 3 or 4 segments you've got, and then put what that type is, the type of segment, what the top description of that segment, and then the details next to it. Okay. And then the next screen, we're doing.
So there's only options like, home ownership and mobility.
Yep. So
there's nothing in there that really suits it, I don't think.
Yeah. So if we put industry type, and then you put the description of building construction, that's an industry type. Or if it's gender, if it's age, or if it's business type, or if it's home ownership. So just choose the one and then put the description next to it.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you just write down those 3 or 4 descriptions of those main sectors when you think of who you've invoiced for the last year.
In that one list.
Yep. So you would have 4 or 5 different customer segments in business type there. Yep. And then write the description of those 4 or 5 in each one of those descriptions here. So has everyone other than Chris got the customer segments done? Can I give a thumbs up? No? Okay. Thumbs up from Belinda. Yes. Thumbs up from Rick. Luth, have you got your customer segments done? Would you only have one customer segment? Yep, she's only got one. Aaron's done. Damien, have you got your customer segments? Yep, you've got yours done. John's done. Here's Tanya. Have you got your segments?
Not yet. I'm still trying to figure out which ones to put in.
Okay, so think of who your best target markets are and funnel them into the different groups.
Yeah.
Because this is key for your marketing. So I'll move to the next section because 3/4 are finished. But I'll come back to make sure that everybody is with us. Okay, education, Louisa. Great, perfect. Okay, so now the next section, so we've got customer segment, hopefully everyone's nearly done that. And then we're going to put their needs, and that's looking at what's their top need and put how many of these different groups here have those needs. And then the next one is we say, how do we actually deal with these customers? How do we actually have this relationship that we deal with the customers? So then we're looking at saying in the go-to area of sales, how do we manage our customers? So we're looking at saying, do we have a CRM? Do we have some kind of system? Do we use some kind of system to actually track our customers and manage them? How do we track our purchase history? And how do we price our products? And there's a drop-down menu here. So those that are finished, if they can start working on this, if they've finished the section before, which is looking at the customer needs described. So those that have finished that, then move on to this section here, which is our customer management. How do we manage our customers? And if we don't have a management system, if we're not tracking our customers and we're not tracking our history, then it might be an action to take that you want to put down in actions to take to say, hey, maybe I should look at that. Maybe I should look at managing them better.
Regarding managing, do you
Mhm.
mean managing from after you've helped them to then in the future or during that period?
So it's like, how do you track the job management of those clients? So once they've become a client, how do you manage it? Like, you might use a CRM, a customer relations management system, like Zoho or something like that. You might use Simpro, or you might use Tradeify or TradeMate, or one of these systems. So how do you track and manage that customer relations, or is it all in your head? And if it is all in your head, maybe that might be an opportunity to say, and actually to take, is maybe there might be a better way that we can automate this or track this relationship.
What was some of the things you just mentioned then? Some of the programs? They're
just depending on, it depends on your industry, what industry software that you have for job management or tracking. A lot of trade businesses use Simpro or Tradeify, or there's the Build Exact. There's one that's the 8-1 TradeMate or something mate. There's lots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Susan?
Yes.
Can I just check, in this customer segmentation, business type, what is that supposed to mean exactly?
Okay, so in this type, in here, in this one here, customer segment, that's the description of the business of the customer segments that you have. So if we're wanting to communicate to our target market, we need to know who that segment is, who that target market is. Now, if your target market, you may only have two. That's Luth talking, isn't it?
Tanya.
Tanya, sorry, I'm trying to see where the voice is coming from. So Tanya, your travel industry. So you might have business type, you might have, you're talking about the customer segment, you might have gender for girls trips, you might have age, or you might have business type for business trips, and have corporate travel. It's just when you look at who your clients are, what are the main top, say, 5 segments that you could put them into that would describe them?
So under business type, it's not the industry that I'm looking at targeting. It's just who my current customers are.
What the group is, yes. And then in the drop-down menu, choose which one most describes them, and then put the full description in the box here.
Okay.
So say, for example, if we were talking about one of your groups, give us an example of one of your customer segments.
At the moment, I have a training service client who does training for machinery and stuff.
Okay, all right. So I would put that segment as business type.
Yeah.
And then so you would say company, the customer segment described, companies that focus on, that deliver mine site or on-site training for FIFO workers, or who send employees away to do off-site training.
Okay.
And that's the description of that sector.
All right, thanks.
No worries. So can you see how we've gone from big picture, the whole picture of your pie, your industry, and now we're coming down and saying, okay, we've looked at the big picture of the pie of all your money that's going around in your industry, and then we've come down to say, okay, well, who are your clients now? And then now we've come down to say, all right, well, they're your clients in that pie of yours. What are the different segments that we have of that pie? What are these segments? How can we segment these groups? Because we're going to communicate and educate to them. We need to know who they are. And then we've come another step closer and said, what are their needs? Because if we don't know their needs, then we can't communicate and educate them, because people are only in their own head, in their own life, and they know their problems and their needs. And whatever marketing we're going to put across them, we've got to mention that in a way that we can solve it. And now we've gone the next step on and said, well, how are we going to communicate to them? How do we communicate to these people that are our customers and that are our target market? How do we communicate to them? In what ways do we communicate to them? And then how do we track it? And how do we price it? And then the last section that we're working on before the break, is anyone ready for me to show them the last section? I just want to make sure that we've got people all at the right speed. Yep. So then the last section is, now that we've got the clients, we've communicated to them, now we've got to say, well, what's our distribution model? Sorry, that was probably too quick. What is our distribution model in the manner that we distribute our product to them? So how do we get that product or service to them in the most leveraged way? Now, funnily enough, I think this slide has been the most instrumental in mindset shifts and life-changing for many people in this workshop, when their brain has clicked and gone, there's this different distribution models. I don't have to do one person deliver one product, there's other ways. So looking at distribution models, we're saying, you know, some people have agents, some people have commission people, some people have direct sales, some people have distributors, franchises, licenses, multi-level marketing, party plan, referral groups, all sorts of different distribution models. You know, what are the distribution models in your business? And, you know, are there different ones? You know, I had a young lad who his brain clicked in this section and said, how can I distribute my products through somebody else that's already distributing them? And he thought up this idea, and then he started distributing it through petrol stations, and it's gone global. And this was through this mindset shift of him realizing he was from a takeaway Mexican shop to a global business with a different distribution model. So is there any other ways that you can distribute your product? I mean, now we've got online. We've also got, you know, the world is very global now as well. So are there any opportunities there? And are there other off-spin products that you could distribute in different ways? So this is the last section that we've got before our break at 10:30, our morning tea break. And I'm very sorry I don't have fancy morning tea to give you. Well, it was all organised, but I'm sorry. So if we can just work on this till our 10:30 break, and those that are behind or missed the first section, stay in here so I can go through that and make sure that everyone's up to the same spot. So that hopefully we will all be finished and back in here and up to the same spot by 10:45. So we'll have a break at 10:30.
Suzanne?
Yep.
In terms of, I don't know, in terms of sharing animation, getting animated videos across to more people, my mind is bouncing between a couple of methods, but then I'm not too sure which one would be more accurate or more realistic. Trying to think out loud, like, yeah, distributing animated files basically, or animated stories.
So you want to think about how you could leverage that, where, you know, how that could, you could have greater access.
Yeah.
Just a different way of thinking, you know, and let it soak, because it could be instrumental with your business, with a product like yours that can be distributed, you know, in multiple ways. It's not a physical product, so you've got huge opportunity.
Yeah, because not being physical, that's just what's, I guess, I'm trying to get my mind around.
Yeah, huge opportunity.
So then be like, well, I guess referral groups and licenses.
And strategic alliances, people who are also working with your clients.
Yeah.
Just let it soak, and it's amazing what pops up.
Yeah, true.
Thinking outside the box. That's the key.
Yeah.
Who else is dealing with your target market? That's the key. Who else is dealing with your target market? Who else is in the same space?
Yep.
As you?
Yep. All right. Cool.
Suzanne, you are muted. I don't know if you know that or not, but.
Know that. Sorry, thank you very much. Sorry. Okay, so basically what I was saying was that I just wanted to recap where we're at. So we basically identified what our customer segments were. This was after we did the industry, how big our industry is. Thank you, Mark. So what are our segments? If we look at the clients that we mainly deal with, who are their main groups? What are the main segments of those clients? Then we've gone and said, what are the needs of those clients? What are the main needs that I need to be solving? What are the problems that we solve? What are the description of their needs? So hopefully everyone's got that. And then we've gone and said, all right, we've got these customers, we know what their problems are, we know who they are now, we've got very clear on who they are. Now we need to look at how we're actually going to communicate with them. How do we actually organize this relationship with them? Because if anything's scalable, it can't just be relying on us. So how do we manage them? How do we track their jobs? How do we track their history? How do we price them? And then once we've understood that, then the last section that we basically did is how do we distribute our product to them? And are there more than one ways to distribute our product? Can we have different ways to distribute? So when we look, say, at John, the example of your new industry, your new sector you're looking at getting into, you know, are there big players out there that potentially need that as well, that could be part of your distribution model, that piggyback their product with their product because they've already got the relationship with the big players? How else can we distribute our products? So that was the last section that we worked on. So how far is everyone up with those 4 sections all around our customers? So is everyone up with me so far, or have we got a few gaps to fill in?
I'm still on the customer management section.
Customer management, okay, that's okay. So there's only that's the second last one, so that's good. Okay.
Yeah, I just stepped ahead a little bit, so I'm just coming back to description or customer needs.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. How else, Mark and Gary? How are you going? Where are you guys at?
We're going well. We've just filled in everything, but we're just trying to see if we can add any more to it.
Fine-tune it. Yep. Okay, that's great. All right. What?
Yeah, so it's quick. It's a quick.
Who else? Damien, how are you going? You're muted as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Are you on track?
I'm all up to speed. Yep.
You're up to speed. Great. Yep. Catherine?
As much as I can be, because I'm redefining everything now.
Absolutely. And lots of stuff's going to come to the surface.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff. So maybe, yeah, giving me, you know, once you've got the seed is planted, once the awareness is there of, wow, there's a new way of thinking, you know, this young guy that's just that I told you about with this distribution model, when I explained this to him and he went away and came back with a different model, it changed his world. It totally changed his world. Never, ever, ever can he turn back. His first invoice was over $1 million. His first invoice, because he changed his distribution model, changed his thinking. So it's not going to be, you know, when you have the awareness of something, then it's how it can be applied. So while others are just finishing off, before we have a little break, I'm going to share another screen. And God, this is going to be fancy stuff. Seeing if I can do fancy stuff, which is going to be very challenging. I will try. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go stop sharing, but then I'm going to share another screen. I'm going to try and do something super fancy and see if it actually, see if it can work. See if I can work it. And then I just want Okay, yep, I've got this here. So can we see a blank screen now with a little picture of a client in there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So just to add, you know, a little bit of extra thinking. So this is our client. This is our client that we have, that this is one of our target markets that we've identified. So this is one of them that we've said, this is our target market. This is our ideal client that we'd like to help. And when we look at our marketing and we look at having a marketing plan, how much better could we improve our marketing by saying, all right, how am I communicating and educating? So what are some of the ways that we currently or have available to us to communicate and educate to our current clients? So if we look and say, you know, one of the ways, what might be, I think a few of you have mentioned that you do a bit of networking. So that's one of the ways that you are actually communicating and educating to your target markets. What's another way that you communicate and educate them?
Blogs.
Blogs. Yep. Blogs, that's another way. How else do people communicate to their target market?
Social media.
Yep. Social media.
Newsletters.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A video.
Emails.
Emails. Yep.
Yeah. Videos.
Yep. Videos.
Press releases.
Press releases. Yep. Let's go PR. Yep.
Text messages.
Text. Yep. One for Bevan. Bold calling. Actually speaking to the people face to face. What else do people do?
Word of mouth.
Yep. Yep. What else?
Low barrier to entry product.
Yep. So like what's the word I'm looking for? Not a teaser.
Taster.
Yeah, taster. Yeah.
Product branding is
branding. Yep. Would signage be in that as well? Or maybe that's a separate one, signage.
separate. But for my public reporting is all branded with contact details.
So signage I've put there as well. So branding, so that's having your branding consistent across all mediums.
Webinars.
Yep. Anyone go to any expos?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Expos are a great one. And expos have what I feel is 3 different elements to communicating with your target market. You can go to an expo as an exhibitor. You can also go to an expo as a presenter, as an expert in your field. And there's quite a few experts here that could actually go to an expo and speak. I mean, Lewis, you could at an expo that might be on, you know, cultural differences and things like that. Catherine, you could in yours. Lisa, you could in yours. There's lots of you. You could as well, Aaron. There's lots of you that could potentially go to expos and be a presenter as an industry expert. Now that gives you huge exposure to your target market. You could also have the stand. The third one that I've found is quite successful is going to an expo that's your target market and going at what's perceived as the very quiet time and actually going and speaking to each exhibitor because they're normally the business owner. And you normally, as you register to go to an expo, you normally get the list of the exhibitors and their contact details.
Yeah.
Good. So that then you can go and speak to each one of them. So go at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, an hour before they're packing up and they're over it. and say, how was the expo, mate? You know, oh God, my feet are killing me. I'm exhausted. Oh, okay. Have a chat to him. And you never have any of your cards. You've always ran out. So you always have to get their card. So you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
Little trick, never have a card on you, because then you can just get the control to contact them. So that's the third element of expos that can often be useful, depending on your industry and depending on your situation. What else do we have? I think paper, I haven't got paper here. I mean, there are still magazines and newspapers.
And distributions like flyers,
yep.
or even inserts into newsletters.
Yep.
But also workshops and conferences.
Inserts, and I'll put inserts and flyers, and you've got conferences.
Workshop, yep. And also, sorry, I'm getting a bit carried away, so I'll say one more and then I'll shut up.
No, this is great, because everybody is hearing, and this is important.
Places you can do presentations at, so people might ask you to present at a place.
Yeah.
And also, depending on your topics, Rotary and Lions and that, like presenters to go.
Absolutely. I've been a guest speaker at many Rotaries. I was a guest speaker. I think I mentioned to someone yesterday that I was at the CPA's conference. I was a guest speaker there for their conference. So great way to get credibility, and great way to actually communicate and educate your target market. They're trapped, they can't walk out. So when we look at your different industries, how can you potentially communicate and educate to them? What other ones have people done? What other ones are people doing right now that could help communicate and educate their target market?
I've done, sorry, go first.
Sorry, I recently did door-to-door.
Yep, that's cold calling. Yep.
Sorry?
Cold calling I've got here.
Yeah.
Yep, brilliant.
Calling cafes and just targets customers wise.
Yep, great. Just going out there and actually speaking to them.
Yep.
Yep, brilliant.
I've done lumpy mail before.
Yep, so lumpy mail, snail mail. If anyone doesn't know what lumpy mail is, does everyone know what lumpy mail is? No. So do you want to give the description, Catherine, or do you want me to?
Oh, look, it's you give them, like, you send something in the mail and you put an object with it. So, I mean, I've heard someone who actually physically sent a dummy's foot and said, I want a foot into your business. You can be very creative. But with me, I did more like when I was promoting local, this is back in the bus tour industry, tours, food tours, and I would actually enclose samples of the food or have a snack on us, all logoed, very cheap. It was just like little packets, like 100 for $2, and just put stuff in it and stuck a label on. But people loved it, and they'd eat while they read what you were talking about. And you can be very imaginative.
Yes.
And it can be it doesn't have to cost a lot. It just depends how far you want to go.
Yeah, I've seen lots of, I saw some painters that sent a paintbrush, a very small paintbrush that they did for lumpy mail. With someone like you, Aaron, you could send some kind of not a disc now, or whatever they do nowadays, not it's something that they can plug in and watch something.
Yeah, like USB.
Yeah, that's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good thinking.
Any other ways that people can communicate and educate to their target market?
Email signatures.
Yep.
And if they're video or not. Yep.
Mm-hmm. We haven't put referral partners here, have we?
No.
Because that can often be a big one, referral partners. Okay. We haven't actually got TV either.
No, or radio.
TV or radio. And, you know, TV and radio can be, if you're wanting to get out to your target market with a really big message, and, you know, there's a few of you in the room that have a big message, is you can get quite a lot of free radio by just offering to be interviewed on a current topic. I mean, I've probably been interviewed over 100 times on the radio with different topics around, you know, inspiration, around planning, around, you know, success and things like that. And that's just because I've put myself out there.
Yeah.
I've said, yeah, they're looking for content. So if something's relevant and I've got something to say on it, then I'm happy to talk about it if I'm going to inspire people and help people to think differently. And it doesn't cost anything to talk on the radio.
I think we send newspapers, but another thing I thought of with referral partners, sometimes people, when they send out invoices or something, they will have a reference to another business.
Yep. So yeah, so that's referral partners, and really that's piggyback mail as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew a car dealership that did a partnership deal with a high-end clothes lady shop, because her problem was she couldn't get people in the shop, but once they were in, they bought. So she donated some very beautiful scarves with a beautiful gift and a voucher to the car dealership of the top-end cars, and they had to come into the shop to pick up that complimentary silk scarf. And once they were in the door, she only had to get them in the door, and then they would try things on, and there was something like an 80% conversion to buy. So her investment was only in donating the scarves to the car dealership, because they were the same target market. So whose target markets are the same target markets that you're dealing with, that you could potentially do some kind of a partnership with? So has this scribble been of value to you? So in each and every one of your businesses, you have a target market. We've identified this is target market number 1, but we've identified, you know, 4 or 5 target markets we all have over the last 10 minutes. So then the second thing we said was, what's their problem and how are we communicating with them? So it might be target market number 1 is in, maybe they might be, you know, well, let's look at, I mentioned my husband is 65. He's an older gentleman, UK origin. Where is he hanging out that we can potentially communicate and educate? Now with these, we'd probably want 3 or 4 ways to do it. So we might say, okay, well, he's a bit older. He might be listening to the radio. We'll, in his our marketing plan, we'll have that one. We might do a bit of an email campaign to pass people in that category. We might have some webinars advertising of people of that group, and maybe do some presentations or something like that. So we might choose for this target market 4 of them. And that's planned over 12 months, planned over the quarter, planned over how you want to do it. So it's about being proactive and planning out how you're going to do this.
I just thought of another one.
Yep.
And that's showing you're an expert. For example, on Facebook, if you join certain, for example, you hear people ask for they have a problem, they want a solution.
Yep.
So I suppose the best way I can explain, once I saw someone say, look, my kid's just drawn over the walls, how do I clean it? And this cleaner hopped on and said, you know, do this mixture, do this, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
They were thankful. However, she actually got 3 jobs out of that, because other people were watching and thought, oh, she sounds like a good cleaner. I've been looking for one.
So experts in chat groups. Now, I've had a lot of people that have actually had great success with starting their own chat group. So they are running the chat group. So that they run the chat group and seen as the expert. So you know, so whatever that may be. So Aaron might run a chat group of, you know, animation enthusiasts. Rick might do one, a Royal Enfield, you know, Facebook group. You know, it's looking at what is potentially an area that you're an expert in that you would have a group in to communicate with your target market.
Yes.
Okay, so I hope that's been useful, that little exercise. You can snip that if you want to keep that, snippy that or screenshot it. I'll leave it up there for the moment. And let's take a 10-minute break, go to the toilet, get a cup of tea, and we will be back here. It's now 10:55. Let's say 11:05. We're back, and we're a little bit over with the time, but I think that was valuable for everyone to see, just to get their mind proactive on how we're marketing. Okay, so we'll be back at 11:50. Sorry, 11:05. So in 10 minutes. So you can come back in the same link, and we'll all be back here, or you can just leave this open.
Cool.
Bevan, could I ask you a quick question about the customer management side of things?
Were you talking to me?
Yes.
Sure.
Since you're the only
Okay.
one here, Lisa.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me what exactly is meant to go in customer management?
So in, I haven't got it open at the moment. Just give us a second.
Yeah. That's after the customer segmentation. Oh, Susan, you're back.
Yep, sorry. Yeah. I was just running to see if someone could make me a coffee. So which section are you wanting?
The customer management section.
Okay, customer management section. So we are looking at share screen, this one here. So this one here.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is how you track your products and how you track the actual management of the clients that you're dealing with. So if you don't have anything in place, it's being a forward plan. This is about what you plan to have in place, and it might be an action that you might want to do, saying how are we going to track and manage the relationships with these clients. You know, does that make sense?
So when you're saying track the customers, as in how they are performing?
No, this is your relationship with them. So the question is how you track, how you manage your customers. So how you manage your customers, and that's looking at saying, how do you plot or keep a record of their purchasing history and keeping up to date with them with things that are coming up. communicating with them, and keeping in touch with them. CRM is a customer relations management system. How do you manage that relationship with the customer?
Okay.
So if you have nothing in place, it's potentially an opportunity to say, well, you know, what could I get in place? Or put it as an action to take, or a strategy of, I need to have some kind of system where I can manage, you know, if this person goes away for a business trip same time every year, well, I need to have that tracked and managed. I need to be one ahead of the curve. If that's someone's wedding anniversary, this date, I need to have that in my CRM so that it sends me a reminder 3 months before to say, hey, their wedding anniversary is coming up again. Remember, they went on their 50th last year. Let's remind them.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to run to the ladies. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay?
Yep.
It seems slightly dramatic, but it's never really.
True. It means you just have to be too careful when this happens.
I mean, better to be safe than not. I think, but it's
Exactly.
sometimes it's a bit like, really?
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah, just gotta go with it. Feel the role.
yeah.
No worries.
Okay, it's 11:05, so I'm hoping everyone is just about back now. So I think Belinda's not quite in yet. Catherine and Louis are yet to come back. Mark and Gary, you there hiding? Good. So we spent a couple of hours on the marketing and our target market. So we will have time for those that haven't quite finished or would like to go deeper. Remembering this is the start of a never-ending journey of development on your business. So there will always be work to be done on marketing. There will always be work to be done on numbers and strategies, but this is the intensive getting it as much out of your head to get a nice plan that then we can work on. So we're going to focus on numbers now, but before we do, has anyone got any ahas or any things they'd like to just put out there to the group that they took away? Because we went through quite a lot of stuff around the marketing. Any big thoughts or learnings or anything that people are thinking, wow, you know, I can do a bit better, or I can get a bit more fine-tuned, or they learned something that was a bit interesting to them around the marketing before we move to the numbers? Damien, did you have something there? Did you put your hand?
No, I didn't. But I haven't done any marketing, so all our work is all word of mouth. So for me, it's a whole new venture. Great,
brilliant. Which, from my point of view, after working with businesses for over a decade, that to me spells huge opportunities, because it means that you're hidden. Nobody knows about you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's a wonderful opportunity.
Yep.
What else did someone take away from the marketing that they want to share? Have people got a bit of work to do? Belinda, did you have something to say?
No, I was just thinking, if you do all this marketing, how do you get the work done what you're trying to cope with now? So what is the point of marketing when you don't want any more at this stage? You know what I mean?
Okay. Really good question. Yeah, really good question. Yeah. So there's a couple of things there. So so marketing is twofold. It's marketing is to people who we suspect we can do business with, and also marketing is with people who are our current clients, because marketing is communicating and educating to people who we think we can add value to. Some of them have done business with us before, and some of them who haven't done business with us before. So the ones who have, so if you don't need any new clients to come, it's about your existing clients. And that's why we talked about a CRM and saying, how do we manage the communications with our clients? Because if our service delivery is not up to a certain standard or continuously improving, bad marketing is twice as bad as good marketing. So there's the marketing of how you're communicating and educating your current clients. That's part of your marketing plan as well. Even if you don't want new clients, that's part of marketing. The other thing that's interesting, if you don't want new clients, is looking at your current clients and saying, is that my ideal market? Do I need to slightly change it? Because if you're really busy, are there some clients that you don't want to deal with and the margins are not good, or the clients are a pain? We might want to change that model a bit and change our target market a little bit. So yeah, great point and great question. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Yep. Okay, so from now till lunchtime, we're going to focus on looking at our numbers. So this is the screen that we're working in, and we will have plenty of time this afternoon to tidy up any loose ends and answer any questions with anything anyone needs help with. We've got plenty of time. All of you will have your plan finished, other than tweaks you might want to get checked by your accountant or your bookkeeper around numbers, but you will all get your plan finished. So can everyone see my screen of products? Everyone can see that? Yep. So this is our product groups. We're in the sales section under products. So we worked this yesterday. So the goal is to have all of our product groups for year one that are our goal to sell, and what our revenue target is for year one. That's our goal. And then...
Sorry, Susan, is that the same as this products and services section?
Yep, that's exactly the same. It depends on what you chose to have it, products or services only or outlets or whatever. It's where we finished yesterday with Paul. So goal is that this year one revenue, that's your target for the new financial year. That's the goal. So I'm hoping everyone has got that entered and has got that. But if you haven't, that's fine. We can work through it now, but I'm going to go to the next section, and then people that haven't got this can work back on that. So we're just going to focus on numbers at the moment. So the next section, once we've got our target sales, our products in, we need to look at our costs. What do they cost us? So we've got our cost of goods, so the cost of the products. Then we've got our overheads and also any insurances. So remembering insurance is in a separate section in a plan, always it's separate. So when we look at our cost of sale, we're wanting to have a look at and say here, in this section here, whoops, sorry, that just jumped very quickly. We're wanting to look at saying there's cost of goods variable and there's also cost of goods fixed. So cost of goods variable are costs of goods that are only incurred when you have a sale. But then there is cost of goods fixed that are firm, that are a cost of distributing the product, like it might be a truck lease, or it might be a certain product that you have to hire for the year to distribute your service. It's not an operating expense, it's a cost of sale. So the section that we're focusing on now is we're looking at cost of goods variable, which is in expenses, go to area expenses, and cost of goods variable. And the names of your products and the sale price for your products will be pre-populated already. And then what you need to do is go down and put the cost of each one of these in there. Now, if you have contractors that get paid per job, then they would go in here. So that if the job they do is worth X amount, you could look at the percentage and put that down as a cost. Another fixed cost of good may be if you have some kind of a platform or hosting or something for a product that you sell that is fixed every year, that might go under a cost of goods fixed. So this is the variable one. So this here, this total here is our total cost of goods that we're building for the new financial year. So these are only expenses incurred when we have a sale. Then the next one, the screen straight afterwards, there's also the breakdown of year 1, 2, and 3, as in that's the change, that's if the price is going up. But then the next one here is the cost of goods fixed. So you might have, say for example, Damien, you might have a guy that's pretty much 100% billable out on the road all the time. He's not a contractor, and you may not have put him in wages. If you haven't put him in wages, you could put him here because he's 100% billable, but he's on a fixed wage. So we could put that here.
I think I've already put him in wages, so do I just leave it off then?
Leave it in wages. if you want to, or you could put him, if he's going to be part of the strategies, you could put his wages as 0 and you could put him in here as well. You just don't want to put the wages in twice.
Okay, I'll just leave it up.
If he's 100% billable, he is in effect a cost of sale, because you have him employed if you've got him working. If there was no work, he wouldn't be employed. But it's really up to you. And I think the best way to look at it is, how is your bookkeeping set up, and do it the same as that. If he's under wages in your bookkeeping, put him under wages. If he's under cost of sale in your bookkeeping, you're 0, put him under cost of sale. Because then
he's under
check like for like. So then the next section that we're looking at here, this is just the breakdown here. So this is all the numbers, is we're looking at our operating expenses next. Now, these will come from your profit and loss over the last 12 months. So these are the overheads. So we're thinking accounting fees, marketing fees, general wages that you haven't put in the wages, rent, electricity, outgoing, all of those. And we're putting, and this is a great exercise because it's something that everyone should be doing come start the financial year, is looking at all the expenses over the last 12 months and setting our budget for the new financial year. So this is such a brilliant exercise that you're forced to do this before the start of the financial year. So you're in a 1% category, because 99.9% of the business owners have not done this come new financial year. So we're looking at saying, what are all my expenses for the next 12 months? And year 1, because we're working on year 1, this is going to be your total operating expenses for the year in the future. And then we've got what percentage that expense is going to go up over the next few years. This is a 5-year plan. Now, if you had an expense, say you were going to do a new website and that's planned for this year, and you put website in here and you put 5K year 1, and then year 2, you can put minus 100% to take it out. Otherwise, it's going to come through every year. The same as if you were going to start something halfway through the year. Say you're moving in January, so you're only going to have 6 months rent. So we put rent, we put the amount, and then we put plus 50% for the next year. And then the last section around the numbers, again, they've got the breakdown here of how much it goes up. And then the last section here is we're going to look at insurances. This is breaking it down. If you want to break it down for, if you've got an expense, say for an accountant that just comes in 1 month of the year, you can put that in there. So this has got to equal 100%. So you might put 100% of my accounting bill comes in July and all these are 0. But I wouldn't worry about it right now. That's only for cash flow 12 months, and you need to get the numbers in first. So I wouldn't not be worried about that. It's just breaking up the expense over the 12 months. So the last section here of the expenses is insurance. So general insurance, liability insurance. This is a great place to think about as well, because often people find they're underinsured or double insured. I had one lady found she was paying insurance 3 times because she'd not done her reconciliation of her shoebox accounting, and same insurance policy on 3 different companies. So, and then others I found that are underinsured, that they don't have indemnity, they don't have public liability, they don't have income protection, whatever. So yeah, so we've got to, goal is we get all the numbers out by lunchtime. So we've really got from now, and I've only got 1 more screen to show you. So we've really got quite a bit of time. Lunch is not till lunch is not till 1 o'clock. So we've got quite a bit of time to work on these numbers. So I'll go back to the beginning. So we're starting with, start from the top and go down. We're starting with our profit and loss and going from the top down. So our profit and loss, when we have a look at our profit and loss, it shows us how much total we invoiced for that year. So that's the first thing that we've got to get. So go in sequence. So the first thing that you've got to get is you've got to get all of your goal sales figure right. So I'm just going backwards here so we can go to the start. So start with getting this nailed. Sorry, here I am. There. One, get this nailed. This has got to be your goal turnover for the next year. That's the first thing. Get that nailed. And remember, this top calculator breaks it down into each year, the revenue from each product group. That's a great calculator to look at. So get this first right and be happy with what your revenue is for the year. And if you're bringing a new product on in year 2 or 3, put year 2 or 3, whatever it is here. And remembering when you click on this top calculator, it's the percentage price is this top line, percentage volume is this bottom line. And it's compounding. But if you click on the calculator, it will give you the amount of the product group from each year, the revenue from each year. So get this right first. Be happy with that. That's the top line of your profit and loss, the top line of your budget. Then, once you've got that right, then go to the cost of goods and have a look. Okay, what does it cost to produce those sales? So that was this one here. Cost of goods variable. Then have a look at them and see what are my costs for each one of these. And if you get your profit and loss, if you look into your accounts from the last year, you should be able to get that. If you don't have any cost of good, you just have a service, make sure that you've already accounted for that in the wages or somehow. And then the next one, once we've done the cost of goods variable, we've got the cost of goods fixed if you have any. You may not have any. And then the second last one, so it's really only 4 places we're working. We're working in our sales, our products, we're working cost of sale, and then we're working in our overheads and our insurance. So here now we're working in our expenses, get them out, and then the last one is insurances. So that is basically the crux of it for the moment. So I think the most important thing is for people to just work through from the start and starting here, and then give me, you know, the heads up if I can help in any way at all. And if you're fine to work on this yourself, I would turn the noise of everybody else off if you want to focus, but keep your camera on so I know you're there and you're working. And then if you want to hear to other people's questions, keep your sound on. And if you have any questions for me, I'm going back to the beginning so that everyone knows where we're starting on. This is where we're starting here. So if anyone's got any questions, I'm here to guide everyone through. So who's got their products done? Rick, well done. So you're now working on cost of sale. So cost of your parts, cost of your motorbikes, cost of the service. Yep, great. Belinda, you've got your products done. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you've got target revenue figure.
Yep.
Great. Fantastic. Who else has got their?
I've printed out from my MyOb system my profit and loss statement.
Yep.
And I'm trying to just plug a few of those in. But when it comes, because it's wanting to extrapolate it over years, when I know that the cost of, like, let's say, for instance, this seminar, mm-hmm. you know, I've put in a deposit of $500.
Yep.
I know in the next year it's going to cost me that 3,000 whatever, but it's not going to extrapolate for the next 5 years.
Mine is 100%, mine is 100% in year 2.
Okay.
So I put in this year, year 1, I put the 3K, and remember this is all ex-tax.
Yeah.
And then I put minus 100% in year 2.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So have you got your sales, this products? Are you happy with your year 1 figure that you've come to as your target revenue for the year?
The target revenue for year 1, I'm just trying to put in things that are in retrospect.
Okay, so this is this is the goal for our sales for year 1, which is the coming year.
Yep. Okay.
That's the goal.
Well,
what we're doing is we're getting all the numbers out of your head and out of your systems.
Yep.
And then we're going to look at, is that model successful? Is that model going to work for you? And very rarely does a model work first time. We've got to go back and say, okay, well, what do we need to tweak? You know, is that enough revenue? Is the cost of goods too much? Is your operating expenses too much? Is your wages to revenue too much? What do we need to tweak? Because this model needs to be successful. Because there's a few of you in the room, and that's why you're here, is that your model is not successful at the moment because you're working way too many hours and not getting remunerated appropriately for it. And some of you are just over broke. So what we've got to do is get everything that we know out of our head, get it into the system, and then work out, okay, what do we need to change of our model to go forward? So starting from the top line, which is your sales. So get this sales figure down here, your target sales figure for this year coming. And then we'll go into the work down. And then once we've got it all out, then we can look at tweaking the model.
Suzanne, it's Lisa. Where would we put like hardware depreciation?
Depreciation comes in your expenses.
Okay.
Under your operating expenses, because if we look at the profit and loss, we're basically just replicating the profit and loss going forward. So when we look at our profit and loss, the depreciation comes in operating expenses after the end of the financial year. So you would generally get your depreciation report from your accountant for the year once it's finished, and you can pop it in there, but you can put in an approximate amount because you should know from last year.
So I put in expenses.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, Susan. Yep. I'm just using the my Xero folder revenues list of last technically current year. Yep. Did I just put in all my items individually and put in the total amounts of that each item?
How many groups were there? How many groups are there?
32.
It's probably a bit many. You can probably group some of them together.
Yeah, there's few that probably aren't there. There's probably, with any decent numbers, probably about 8 or 10 there.
Yep, that's fine. And that's in the products. That's in this screen that I've got open now. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then put in the average dollar that sale is and how many of those sales you wish to get in the new year.
How would they be broken down where most of these are charged as hourly hire?
Okay, you could
Not
put
as individual.
some people, like I've had it, electricians and business plans like that, where they might put half a dozen big projects that are regular projects that happen, and then they put the hourly ad hoc hourly contracting work, and they put that, you know, that sells for $150 an hour or whatever, and they put on average that they wanted, their target is to bill out, you know, X amount of hours a month, times it by 12, and put, you know, how many units. So the unit they're saying is an hour.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
So I just work out this average to based on a weekly sort of set rate or monthly rate.
Yep. So you might have some you know, big projects that you might put a value on, but then you might have the ad hoc hourly contractors rate as well, or hourly rate as well as a unit.
Yeah.
And just put the rate at whatever you bill it out at, X GST, whatever that sell rate is.
Okay. Yep.
And that's the same for Damien, and same for Rick, and same for Belinda. That might be the case for you if you have billable hours with repairs and things like that. That if you
I've got labour as a product category. Yeah. Now I'm just doing the cost of goods variable. It comes up there as a variable item, but it is a fixed cost.
Okay. So put it in the next screen then. Put it in the cost. So with the labour for your technicians, they're employed full time.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so put them in the next one along. So under labour, put the cost of sale as 0.
Yeah.
And then go to the next screen, which is cost of sales fixed, and then put your technician, your service technician in there.
Yeah, that is how our profit loss reads it as well. So they just come out as wages, and then the labour shows as 100% profit. But then,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that makes sense. Just as long as you don't have his wages in twice.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, it'll come out twice. If he's in your key people's team, if his name's there, and you want to keep his name there, if he's going to be having some goals and strategies in the plan, if you want to share the plan with him, just put his wages as 0, and then put him in cost of sale fixed as well, but just his wages once, because it means that then your projection is going to be more realistic, because he is a true cost of sale. But then his name will still be there for goals and strategies, and he'll still be under the key team members. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. Great.
What if there's 2, but we always have two labour costs, one for the panel beater, one for the spray painter?
Just put them as 2 line items.
Okay.
Catherine, did you have a question? I can't hear you, love.
You can now. I'm off.
Okay.
I'm unmuted. Yes, please. Look, I'm thinking with the packages I do, naturally there's a fixed cost, a variable cost. But they would still be under cost of goods, variable and fixed. So that would be like if people have an event, that would be meals per person, but a fixed rent of hire venue.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I put that in. So I'm worked out sort of an idea of number of events per week and multiplied it by for the year. And I'll just do it that way. When I physically put it into the...
Actually, hold on a minute. I'm sorry, my brain's just working. Okay, so we have fixed cost of sale when you've got something that's directly related to a sale, to producing the goods, that's fixed, that we know exactly how much that cost is.
Yep.
Right? So we're basically replicating our goal in numbers for the new financial year and beyond, so that we can plan that model. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If you've got an event, right, and you're putting on an event, so you're putting on this great event, the cost of sale is the venue hire, which is fixed.
Yes.
And then we've got the food and everything that's variable.
Yes, correct.
Now, my brain is working because that event could get cancelled. So it's not a true fixed. If you don't get the numbers, or if COVID hits you, that event's cancelled.
Yes.
So I would be putting 2 line items. Sorry, just waving goodbye to a child. 2 line items where I would have event and have the cost of sale for that event. And then I put event consumables or event something, because then you can just have, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, and have 1 line for each.
Yeah,
So
because then it means that you could say that the break even for that event is to have 50 attendees.
Yes.
So then we've got the cost of goods against 50. So 50 lunches, 50 head packages, 50 goodie bags, whatever, as a cost of sale variable. But then you've also got the hire of the venue, which is fixed. But it really is variable, because if that event doesn't go, you're not going to be billed for that for the year.
Right.
So I just reckon if you put it as a separate line item and just put 1 or how many of events you're going to have, that's going to come out in the numbers better.
Excellent. Good.
Do you see what I mean?
That makes perfect sense. Thank you. And the next question is putting it into this software package.
Yep.
I've got expenses, cost of goods variable.
Yep.
And then it came up with the 4 packages I put in.
Yep.
Item sells for, well, I had that as like individual, but I suppose that's the total. And then cost, I wasn't sure how to put it in, as we've just said, like different lines.
Yes. Okay. So do you mind if you share your screen?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay with everyone? Because it will probably help everyone anyway.
That's okay. Yeah, that's
Go
fine.
down the bottom and go share screen.
Yep, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Where is it?
Down the bottom, it's a big green arrow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so that's it. But I think business lights is the wrong one, because I did per ticket. I didn't put the total there for some reason.
Go back to the sale. Go back to the products area.
Okay.
So go to area, and we're going to sales and products, or sales and services. So go to the top. Go to
product list.
Yep.
And then, can you see that one?
Yep, that's it. Okay. So what I'm thinking, so this item sells at $30, that sells at $3.50, team building, and they're the attendees. So to make it come through, I would put, so the potential, I mean, we've just got to see how the model works best, but maybe you could have another line item for the event.
Oh, I've just worked out what I did. I just did 1 month and the rest are yearly. Okay. Got it. All fixed.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the other thing you could do in the fixed, you could potentially put each one of those events and the fixed cost of that event. Or put them in a separate line item and put it as a variable, but only have one of it. Do you see what I mean?
No, sorry.
Okay. So we've got a venue hire.
Yes.
So how many venues are you potentially going to hire? Like,
it could depend. Some are repeated with the same one, so.
So that is not fixed for the year. It depends on if you have that event or not.
Mhm.
So you could potentially put that product group again as a second line item in product group, and then under the cost of sale, just have 1 or 2 and that cost of that venue higher, because that's separate to the consumables, because that's variable, whereas the venue is not.
Oh, yeah. So,
So essentially it's putting another line item in the products group.
Yes.
I'm just thinking it through out loud.
No, that makes sense. So you'd have like product A, and you'd have the variable cost of sale, and then product A cost of sale fixed. Yeah. And so it comes through. Oh, I can cope with that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it means that you've got those both, because then we can see, okay, when do we get to that point where we've got to have the numbers?
Good. Okay. Okay. That's good. Thank you for that.
That's
Thank
all
you.
right. So where else are people working? Where can I help people get forward? So I'd love a thumbs up for people who have got all their products. I want to know if how close we are to getting everyone's products happy face of their target revenue number.
Yep.
Yep. That was Damien, your yep.
Yep, I'm all done.
Yep, Chris is yep. So are you working cost of sale now, Damien?
I'm just doing my insurance at the minute.
Your insurance, great. Okay. And Chris, you're working in cost of sale?
Yeah, just a yearly overview.
Yep.
A revenue of the 8 or 10 items and the total amounts of each one, and dividing that by the hourly rate or an estimate of what each one is.
Brilliant, great. And then you're going on to the cost of sale variable.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Where else are people at? Who can I help?
I'm in
quick question.
Yep, sorry. Aaron, you were first. Go.
In terms of making animation, software is an annual subscription, Adobe Creative Cloud. That's the fixed costs.
I'll put it under fixed cost of sale, definitely.
Cost of sale? Right,
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
So.
Because you can't do your job without that.
No, it's just annual subscription. So cost of sale, yep.
Yeah, I mean, up to you. Where is it in your zero? If you've got it as an operating expense in zero, put it down under general expenses. But it depends, you know, I like to align as close as possible your chart of accounts to this platform, because it's easier to track as we go forward.
Yeah, I just promotion zero and just looking at the profit and loss statement and just almost copying it across directly.
Well, if it's under operating expenses, put it under operating expenses, because otherwise every time we look back and check how you're going, we'll have to take it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
John.
Thank you.
No worries, John.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on cost of goods variable, and I'm trying to work from my profit and loss statement, and I know that my subcontractors were around 24,000 last year. How do I put that in cost?
So the products that have come through. So the products that have come through in your in here, let me have a look. So the products that have come through in your in here. Sorry, I'll just get to the right screen. Sorry, this one here. The products that have come through.
Yes.
They are products that the contractors have worked on.
Yes.
And
now, when my products have come through at the square meterage rate, so the small numbers, they're only.
That's fine. So then, are these contractors? Can we work out a percentage of square meterage rate?
Yeah. Yes.
So then, when you get to this screen here, cost of goods variable, I'd be looking at, say, whatever that product is, and saying, if that's a square meterage rate, then what is the percentage of that is for labour?
Yeah.
And then putting that in, and that should work.
So where do I put that in? If
Under here, under the costs here.
Yes. Okay.
So if we see down the bottom, sum of cost times the unit sold is what that's going to be for the cost of goods. So if you've got here that this item sells for, and this is the square meter rate.
Yeah.
And in the screen before, in the products, you've got that we're going to sell 150 of those square meter rates.
Yeah.
Then what is the labour element of each per square metre rate? And that's what we put here,
Okay.
what that
All right.
percentage is.
All right. Okay.
And as it comes out, once we've got all the numbers out, then we can play with it. And I can go, oh, that's where the model's flawed. That's where you've got to change. That's where it's like we're working on a crystal ball here.
Yeah.
With your business going forward and saying, hey, what is this model? What's the model going forward that's going to work for your business?
Okay.
So, Belinda.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused on my labour for the variables.
Mm-hmm.
Am I doing the whole year, or am I doing an individual car?
Okay, so it depends on how, it all depends on how you've entered the products. Whether you've entered the products, how you've actually entered them as one unit or multiple units.
Well, I did insurance company, private sales, restoration, labour.
Yep, okay. So they're all one figure, one amount.
Yes.
Okay, so they're all one amount. So now, when we look at those amounts, if they're only one unit, we want to look at saying, okay, what was the cost? And you'll be able to see that from your profit and loss over the last 12 months. What was the cost associated with each one of those separate divisions? What percentage was associated with that? What cost percentage? And then when we go into the cost of sale, that's where you'd enter them against each one of those categories.
So it's saying cost of sale.
So let's just start. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't include the labour, does it? Cost of sale is 185 grand.
So let's look at one category first. You can share your screen if you're comfortable to share your screen. I've enabled that so everyone can share if they want to share. So just, if you're comfortable, go down to the green button and press share screen.
Oh, that's not it.
You can stop sharing if you want and then get the right screen if you want.
Oh, all right.
Technology is fun.
Yeah, I've got too many open.
So you just choose which screen you want to share. When you go share screen, you just choose the right screen.
Okay. Screen 2.
Yep. So go to the okay, so here we've got, now can we just go to the products first? So go to the what if button down the bottom left, because that's a shortcut to the numbers, and go up to product list. It's the third one down from the top, product list. Yep. Okay, so this is what I wanted to see. Okay, so you've 133 times you've done insurance jobs. The average sale is 255.
Correct.
2,555. Okay, now what does that include? Does that include parts and labour?
Yes, that's the cost of the sale, cost of the average cost of.
Yep, parts and sale. Okay, so when we look at that, on average, what percentage is parts and what percentage is labour of an average job?
That's so hard to work out, because it could be a small job with not much parts, or it could be a big job with lots of paint, which is labour.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I fall down, because I don't know. There's no average, I guess.
Okay.
Either it's a big hit or a little hit, a scratch or a dent or a rust.
Mm-hmm.
How do you tell?
So when you when you do your finances, do you have any kind of software that you can get that kind of information from? Do you have, so have you got Xero?
No, MyOb.
So you've got MyOb. And does MyOb tell you, when you do an insurance company job, can you get a breakdown of how much is labour and how much is parts?
No, it doesn't discriminate between insurance companies or private. It's just all a vehicle being done. Okay, so in MyOb, you don't, when you invoice someone, do you know what your what percentage of that invoice is for parts and what percentage is for labour? Not percentage, but I do know what is if there is parts, it's always listed and you've got your total.
Yep.
And then all the labour's on top. So
okay. So and you know, this is great learning for all of us, because I've had many people that going through this exercise, they've realised that their chart of accounts could be set up better, that they could track their numbers better. And it's a great time for everyone to be doing this, because it means that in the new financial year in July, you can slightly tweak your chart of accounts and say to your accountant or bookkeeper, the information my finances are giving me is not good enough. I need to get better understanding of my finances. So, okay, so in MyOb, back to you, Belinda, can you get a report that tells you all of the parts that you have? No, you can't. Okay.
No.
No.
No, you use a system called another system called Crash Zone, which will list the parts, but they're not joined, and there's no way of them going towards the other program. No. Okay. So when you do a quote for an insurance company, then do you have a certain kind, when you do a quote, do you have a certain kind of markup or margin on that product? Yes, but each insurance company has their own markup. So you've got about 20 markups depending on the insurance company. What's the variance? What's the variance between them? They go from what to what? Like 5% variance, 10% variance. Probably 10%. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what about looking at saying, okay, if that's what the markup is, let's look at then what our average cost price of this would be, and then in the cost of sale, put that in there so we're working backwards. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so you've got your cost of sale. Yep, so we're working backwards and we're saying what's the margin or what's the markup that we're putting in here. And for those that don't know, there's a difference between margin and markup. So the markup is where you're marking up from the cost price up, and the margin is from the sale price down. And I've had a lot of people get this mixed up, and it's been instrumental in their business failure. I had a supermarket guy who had markup and margin mixed up with his supplier, and his model was flawed because of that, just that one definition of that word. So just remember, marking up from your cost price is markup, and margin is from your sale price down. So I'm thinking that might help, Belinda, if you know what your margin is in your insurance, your average margin in your insurance company jobs, and then in the cost of sale, we put that. So we look at saying, okay, if your average job's 2550, but really this is magnifying the fact that you need to understand more about these numbers, because the more you understand about them and set them up better, you'll be able to tweak them. There'll be heaps of money falling off the table that you can catch. Lots, because the more you understand about it, the more you'll be able to. So what would your cost price be on this then, if we look at the average markup from the cost price? So you were looking at one individual car, just say the one car, just the one car. No.
Would it be 20%, 30%?
14%.
14%, you reckon?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
This is reinsurance. Yes, 14%.
so you're looking at saying 357. So you're saying the cost price is 2193. Is that correct?
2193.
Is that right? That's 14% of 2550. That's margin, not markup. That's margin. That's 14% of the sale price, which is different from markup. Markup's marking up from the cost price. Does that make sense?
No.
No.
I haven't done. No, that's not right.
Okay. So if we look at then the cost price, what would the cost price be then of this? So I think you're maybe talking about markup.
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah.
So then, if that's the case, what would the normal cost of a job for 2550 be on average?
Yeah. Well, there you go. If it all depends, doesn't it? It depends. It depends if they had parts. If it was just labour, it's that's nearly 90% margin. But if it's parts, depending on what it is, it's brought right down, isn't it?
So if we looked at the insurance, so the other thought this here is you could put 2 line items for each product if you wanted to, and you could go insurance company parts, insurance company labour. You could do it that way if you wanted to.
I need more.
And this is you're not alone, Belinda. This is really, really normal. By delving into the numbers, people often realise, wow, I need to know more about this.
Yeah.
I need to know more about my numbers. They're your numbers, and you know, there's a lot of details there. There's a lot of gaps there that will help you in your business. But we need to work out what they are.
Yeah.
So do you think then it might be easier then to separate it into just 2 sections, parts and labour?
Parts and labour.
Or because if you go into Maya, can you look up parts sold to insurance companies or not at the moment? You can't.
No.
But can you look at all parts that were sold? In Maya, you should be able to go to products and have a look at the total amount, all parts sold and the margin of all parts.
No, we only have materials and supplies. That's our.
And labour?
No, labour is only your wages.
Okay, but you sell labour.
There's no breakdown because it's not joined with our normal, with your normal programs. You got your quoting system is not joined to MyOb, so they don't talk, so we don't know.
So again, this is great. I'm loving this because this is showing that there's a huge opportunity to join the 2. They should be talking.
Yeah.
So in that other system, can you look up, is it possible to look up parts that were sold to insurance companies through quotes?
No.
Or, no, not at all?
No, not at all.
Well, what does the system do?
It just helps. It just
quoting.
Yeah, it's a quoting system. Yes, that's all.
Okay, so if it's a quoting system, surely there would be a line item for parts and a line item for labour. And
yes, on each individual quote there is, but not a tracking to see.
Do they not have a report section that you can do a report from beginning of the financial year to the end and say what's the total for parts sold and total for cost of parts?
You have to give me a moment on that one. I'll have to have a check because I've never been asked this before, I assume.
Okay, well, this is good. I'm loving it because this is great.
You are.
I know it's uncomfortable for you, and that's how we grow, is by being uncomfortable and asking questions. Here, you can stop sharing the screen, but this is great because it's going to be a breakthrough for you.
Yeah.
This information.
You know, I used to think I had lots of information collected, but I haven't.
Yeah, look, it's great. So if you just stop sharing the screen. Yep, that's better. So I think it sounds easiest to me to just do 2 line items for the moment, parts and labour.
Okay.
And then we look at labour as what it sells for the hourly rate. You bill it and make that 0 unless you've got contracted labourers.
No.
Okay, and you've already put wages for labour, correct?
Correct.
Then I would put parts and have a look at how much the dollar value of parts is you've sold for the last year. And we'll start with that number and then look at what the markup is or what the margin is on those parts. And we'll put that in the cost of sale.
Okay.
And that's a really good start. And then you can develop that model with Paul on how you could pull it out. But that will give you correct numbers.
Okay.
But I think this is great because it's really showing everybody, you know, how the opportunities to get information from our system can increase our areas to improve our business. So good on you for being open and honest, because it's a huge opportunity. In a year's time, you'll be looking at it and going, wow, I've learned so much, and how much now do I know more about my business, and now I can work on tweaking it. Just small percentages here and there make a massive difference. So good on you. Okay, who else needs help with these numbers? Where's everyone at?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay.
Talk. Lisa. Yep. Can I share my screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yep.
All right, I'll just go back to the beginning. I'm not quite sure if I've got the concept correct.
Yep.
So these were the services that we went through.
Yep.
The bit I'm not sure about is this industry market overview.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter right now because we're only doing, so if we go to the what if button down the bottom.
Oh, I've done the bits I think you were talking about. Yeah, which
only things in here are related to number. Now, industry market overview is not in the numbers. It's not in the back calculation. It's
okay.
It's for business. It's for planning.
All right. Yeah.
But it doesn't affect the back end.
All right. So we'll keep going then. So, and products don't.
So go to the what if button to shortcut to the numbers. So we're wanting to look at making sure the products are in, the cost of goods are in, the expenses are in, and the insurance is in.
So products are in.
Yep. Cost of
now,
goods.
No, that's what I want. I want to show you the expenses. When I look at my expenses.
Yep.
So these are based on for the last 6 months. So they're just my they're my operating expenses.
Yep, you're correct. And if they're only 6 months, they'll need to be doubled.
Oh, no, sorry, it's for the 12 months. Yeah,
12 months.
It's factored out. Yeah, it's factored out for 12 months. So that is what I would consider would be my operating expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I've got in the insurance costs in here.
Yep.
As well.
Yep.
So if I go then back to my
cost of goods,
given that I provide technical services and my operating expenses cover my software, my utilities, my services to do with IT, what else would be my cost of goods?
So is this all your labour?
Yes.
Okay, then zero. You're like me.
Yeah.
So the only thing is we need to have your wages put in there. So we need to make sure your wages are either going to come out as director's drawings when you've made a net profit or come out in wages as key people. They're the two.
I don't know what to do there.
Okay, do you normally just take wages and PAYG, or do you wait till the end of the year and say, these are the drawings that I've taken and this is how much tax I'm going to pay the taxman after the net profit?
Well, the business in itself has only been operating the 6 months. So work that I had invoiced previously as a sole trader, I just took that all as profit. So I haven't sat down with my accountant yet. I suppose I'll do that in the next month or so and work out the nitty gritty of what I do. But this 6 months I haven't invoiced a lot. So, there is no wages.
Are you registered for PAYG?
Yes, I am.
You are.
Yeah.
So will you be paying yourself a wage?
I haven't worked out what's the best tax way for the tax. I mean,
well, that's fine. Just leave it. But just bear in mind, so you'll just have to add it in key people and put your wages there. If you want to just, I'd put something in there to account for it. Put, whatever you feel that you would like, and this is the model, this is the plan of success. So we're wanting to make our picture of success very clear. So, you want this business you're working all these hours, you want it to serve you. So I would put in key people, whatever you want, 120K, 150K, 100K, 80K, whatever you want. I'd put in there because we want that model to be right. And really, it doesn't matter when you've spoken to the accountant that you take it out, it just means to be accounted for. And then here, I just put zero because we're already accounting for it in your wages.
Okay, so under the what if, the key, where do I put the, key people sell?
Yep. Oh, you're already in there. You've already put yourself in there, 150. So that's fine. So the only other thought, go back to what if and go to the cost of sale. The only other thought is if you want to replicate yourself and leverage some of this out, is there a cost involved in it? If you ever want to grow your business. So this, ad hoc, like ad hoc daily, this spaghetti, like you're going to have to give him money for that. How much?
Yeah.
So I would put a cost there of how much, if he's being billed out at 1,300, what would you give him?
Okay, so his portion of the operating expenses, I would take that out, or
Yep.
No.
I would put what you're going to pay him, the cost of him. So if he's doing something for $1,300, do you give him $800 or $1,000 or whatever?
Yep.
So I would put that in there under cost. Yep. And then I would also think going forward 5 years, it's a 5-year plan. Will your business model ever be leveraged? Will you potentially ever be able to have somebody else do some of this? And what would the cost of that be? So you might put another line item here and have that might be a product. Well, actually, I'll put it in products first. So go to down to what if again. And so go product list and keep going up a tiny bit more product list.
Yep.
And I would put in another line item that you might be starting in year 2 or 3. That's maybe a
mine engineering consulting.
Yes.
Mine engineering. Yeah.
Yes. And so if you're billing him out at $150 an hour in year 2, you're hoping to bill him out for 20 hours or 50 hours for the year, and then put the cost of him in, because this is a 5-year plan. It can't all just be around you.
Yeah.
And if you've built trust in people, And then you leverage off some of your grunt work that you don't really enjoy and get them to do it.
Yeah.
So what would you sell that for?
Okay.
So item sells for, you don't need to do those details of
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then put the cost associated with that in cost of sale. So anything else you need help with, Lisa? For the moment?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right. You can stop sharing. Just go down to the green button down the bottom. Brilliant. Okay. How is everyone else going with their numbers? Who needs help? So the 4 screens we're wanting is all our products where we're equal to our sale, our target turnover figure for the year. We're wanting all our cost of sales associated with that are variable to those sales and any fixed ones in the following screen. Then we want to have a look at all our operating expenses that are our operating expenses of our business going forward for the next year, and then tweak if there's any expenses that are going to be added or taken away. And then the last screen is the insurance. Nice to see you, Mr. Paul. Nice to see you. So anyone need help? Where is everyone up to? Who's done all 4? Give me a thumbs up if you've done all 4 and you don't need help, because then I need to know whether I can move on to the next section. Because there's one more section around money before 1 o'clock lunch. So you can type in the chat, or you can give me a little reaction thumbs up or a little O face, as Mark and Gary did.
I think I've put a lot of things in cost of goods instead of going into expenses.
Okay, that you wouldn't be the first one that's done that. Lots of people do that. Annoying, but you can copy and paste and put them in expenses.
Right. So what do I put in? What should be in cost of goods? Like what should be in expenses? I mean, I put everything in cost of goods, and I'm sure something should be in expenses. Like, is it rental of warehouse?
Yep. So rent, as I think who showed their expenses? I think it was Lisa or someone showed their expenses list. So accounting, bookkeeping, rent, cleaning, electricity, utilities, office stationery, all of that.
They all go into expenses.
Yep, they're all in expenses.
Okay.
So
how do I copy and paste?
Do highlight the field and go Control C and then Control V and the what if button is the shortcut to expenses or anything to do with the numbers that affect the back end.
So I'll highlight it.
Yep.
Copy.
Control C and Control V.
Right, that didn't work. So how do I highlight? What am I?
Just click in it and it will be blue.
Yeah. Okay. So how do I copy everything?
Go Control. Oh, you have to do one line at a time.
Oh, okay.
You can't do the whole lot. Sorry.
Okay.
It's not Excel. Unfortunately. Well, fortunately, because I understand this backwards, but I don't understand Excel. I can do auto sum with Excel. That's it.
Right, I'll get off.
No
Mute
worries.
myself again.
No worries. So who else needs a hand?
Hi.
Damien.
Yeah, just want to check in expenses.
Yeah.
We're not putting wages in there, yeah? Because wages is done somewhere else, yeah? Further on.
Yep. So go into the what if button on the bottom left. And if you see at the top of that, there is key people.
Yeah, yeah.
Click into that. That's where you've put the wages yesterday.
Key people salary.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So
they're
that's
already there. So don't, as Paul said yesterday, we don't do that twice.
Yeah, cool. All right. No, that's all good.
expenses will be all of the things as we just went through with John, all your operating expenses.
Yep. Everything that's in zero, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right.
So where are you up to? Are you up to insurance yet? Because that's a separate thing, remember?
I just done expenses all done, insurance is all done.
Yep.
And I haven't done capital items yet because we haven't covered that yet, have we?
I'll go on to that in 2 seconds. So you're pretty much all done. Gary, oh, sorry, did you have another question, Damien? Did you have another question, Damien? Sorry.
I think we'll.
You're good?
Yeah, we're good, yeah.
Good, okay.
We're just doing the insurance.
You're doing insurance? Okay, good. So you're up to there. Catherine, are you up to insurance? Or you got there?
I've done insurance because that was easy.
Yep.
I'm still trying to divide all the cost of goods between fixed and variable,
so
re-put it in. And expenses I've got manually, I just have to type it in.
Okay, so that's fine. So you're working fine. Great. I just want to know who needs help and where everyone's at. Chris, how are you going? Are you needing help or are you just working through it?
Just working through it at the moment. I'm on the expenses.
Great. Okay. All right. Give me a shout. So anyone else needs a hand or anyone else finished? And I'll show you the last section. Yep. Okay. So we've got a couple of people who finished. So I might just show you the last sort of section that we're going to go through before lunch so that you can, those that are ready can move on. So we've got here, we've done all of our expenses. I'll move forward, sorry. We've done our expenses, we've done our insurance. And then the last section we need to look at here is, sorry, I will get there, is capital items. So do we need, sorry, back here. This is if we need any funds. So if we need to have some capital, we can fund it in 3 different ways. We can fund it via debt, we can fund it via cash or equity. So if in this 5-year plan, we're looking at saying we need to get some capital, where are we going to get that funded from? Is it going to be debt? So we're going to borrow the money. So what year are we going to buy it? And what months and how many months and what's our depreciation and interest for that? So if you're going to buy a car or something like that, or a vehicle, some machinery. The second choice is to buy it via cash. So if you've got cash in the bank or someone's going to give you some cash, or the last one is if you're going to use funds via someone's equity. If someone's got some equity, then you could buy, have access to funds via that equity. Then the last one here is if, once you've got all your numbers in, if you need some other source of funds, it might be to grow your business. It might be for building, it might be for some, maybe some stock or some assets or something like that, more working capital. The last section is funds needed. So if you need some more funds for something else in the business, pop it in here. Now, a note is that this here, this last one, funds needed, is not in the calculations. This is just a statement to say we do need more funds in the future. So this is not something that is helping, that will come out in the balance sheet or in the calculations, because remember, it's only things that are from the what if button that will show up in our calculations. So once we've put if we need any funds, the last thing to play with, this is if the funds, we need them in year 1 and then we minus that percentage out of the next year. That's just if we are putting in some funds needed. But then we want to have a look and say, okay, has my profit and loss is my model worked for me? And we want to have a look at saying, what are, so far with the numbers I've put in, what are my numbers looking like? Now, we do need to put our historical profit and loss and balance sheet in from the end of the financial year, but the financial year hasn't finished yet. We've got a couple of days left. So you could wait, or you could put some preliminary numbers in today if you wanted, because they're going to be the opening balances. So in the setup, right at the beginning when we started, we saw this here, profit and loss. Now they're going to be the opening balances that we're going to compare your year going forward with. So you could leave this blank for the moment, or you could put your current profit and loss as of now in there if you want as preliminary numbers, just to give you an idea of, am I on the right track? So up to you whether you put them in now or wait a couple of weeks. And then the other thing that we want to enter for historical balances is our historical balance sheet, which is our balance sheet, our assets and liabilities as at the end of the financial year. So as of in a couple of days. So again, you can enter this if you want to today to put some preliminary numbers in to see how you're tracking based on the numbers that we've put in, or you can leave it blank and wait a couple of weeks till your accountant gives you the final P&L at the end of the financial year. Totally up to you. So that's a choice that you can make. If you've got close to the right numbers, you can put them in now and check. And then if you've got any plant and equipment, if you've got an asset register, you can enter these as well. I think I saw some people entering that yesterday anyway. So you can enter that if you want to. But again, this is not calculated. This is just a statement. This is not coming in the what if button. This is just a statement. All businesses do an asset register at the end of the year to have a look at what is my list of my plant and equipment. Did you have a question, Catherine? You're muted, love, sorry.
Sorry, I do that, so I'm not making noise.
That's all right.
Everywhere. Plant and equipment, the value, is it the historical or the opening written down value for the year?
Good question, good question. It's what the accountant gives you at the end of the year for your asset register, what the value of the equipment is.
Okay, thank you.
So then the so once we've done all of that, we're going to say, okay, have I got my target or not? How have I gone? And this is where the fun begins. This is where the playing. That's why it's only 12:22. Our goal is to have this done by lunchtime at 1. So we've got plenty of time to play with it and go back and work on this. So on the what if button, we go there and we hit profit and loss. Based on the numbers you've put, this is what the projections are for the next 5 years for your profit and loss. Now, if you've put the opening balances of the profit and loss as of the end of the financial year, that will be here. If you haven't put it in, it won't be there. So up to you whether you do or not, whether you're bothered to. But we want to look and say, okay, how's my numbers looking? So this here, year 1, becomes your target for the new financial year. And then from that, we want to have a look and say, okay, have we made a profit that's, one we're happy with? Is it greater than last year or the year before? Is it where I'm wanting to go? Then we can look at the balance sheet and say, okay, is my equity growing? Is there a positive equity in the business? Is it going forward? Remember, the balance sheet's everything you owe and everything you own, the difference between the two. So based on what you've put in, this is giving you the outcome of that. And then the next one is what's your annual cash flow looking like? Is the cash flow going positive? We want it to be going positive. And I've had over a dozen people over the many years that I've been, specializing in this, that once they've done their numbers, they've found out my model's flawed. I need to change it. And I've had over a dozen that have actually closed their doors and said, this is ridiculous. Now I know why I'm going backwards. I'm not doing this anymore. Kid you not, over a dozen people have closed their doors after they've done this process, and they've got, finally, I can see why I'm going backwards. I'm not doing it anymore. And they've started a new business and a new model and realized the failings of that model. So we want to make sure whatever business you have is that there is cash flow positive. You're going forward. There's no point otherwise. So these are the 3 reports that we're wanting to look at first of all. Then there's other ones that we can have a look at, which is the marginal cash analysis. So these are all from this what if button. They're all the reports that are spat out based on your numbers. So this is saying for every $100 of revenue that you pull in, and if you're thinking, what is she talking about the model? This is what I'm talking about. Every $100 you put in of sale, so 100% or $100, where does it get split up? Where does the cash go? Where does it all go? Are we going positive or negative? So we want to make sure it's positive. And then this one, which is brilliant, which so many people don't look at, is where's my break-even point? What's that turnover I've got to do to know I break even? And this here is break even year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're wanting, as our business grows, for our break even to come down so that we're getting more efficient and we're getting more leverage. We're not working harder. So these are basically all to do with the what if button. So the top, when we look at the what if button, the top are where we enter, and all the bottom are those reports that I've just shown you. So these are just all reports based on your numbers. So once you've got all of your numbers put in, your sales, your cost of sale, your expenses, your insurance, and then lastly, if you want to buy anything, any capital or any debt or any equity you needed to actually fund anything, once you've got them in, then it's time to play with the numbers and look at it compared to your last profit and loss and see how am I doing? Where does it need to change? And I know that this probably is the most important one, is this one, this profit and loss, making sure that that profit is good. And I know that it will be hurting everyone's brain, but that's good, because you only have to do it, you know, get past this pain, and then it opens up all these opportunities for your business with how you can improve it. Because you need to see what that successful model looks like first before you can go and do the strategies to actually make it happen. Because we need to know where the pressure points are that you're going to be working on. Does that make sense? So who needs help now?
Just a quick one.
Yep.
And where would you put grants? Would that be?
Well, you don't have the grant yet, so I put that in funds needed.
Yep. Cool.
Because then it's a statement saying you're looking to apply for a grant for this much money, and then that would be aligned with the strategy for 1, searching for grants you're applicable for, 2, for putting in applications, grant reviews, grant applications, and goal might be in your goals as well, that your goal is to apply for 2 grants a year or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and the mess here, because put it this way, most of my figures, particularly salaries, are based on securing grants the next 6 months. And well, one grant we've applied for starting at 15K, next one pushing for 60K. The end goal is to, with a grant writer and a partner and a collaborator, is to apply for pretty much a 7-figure grant by end of year.
Great. Fantastic.
So that's pretty much where I'm going to see, besides
so
setting animation.
In goals, that will be in strategies, and that will be in funds needed.
All right. So should I put like just include every grant application as an individual line in terms of those money figures?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would, because then it's right in your face, front of line, front of mind.
Cool. And I mean, you got to apply for the grant, but being cautiously optimistic, that will pretty much buy computers and afford salaries and grow the next 6 months on top of still making animation for clients.
Yep, Absolutely. Perfect.
Sweet. Thank
Great.
you.
Well done. Who else has any questions? And Paul, Mr. Paul, did you want to add or say anything?
You're doing a great job. You got it under control, and everyone's on the money at the moment, so it's good.
On the money, haha, you're funny. Yep, Catherine, you're muted, love.
Sorry, it's the noise. Yes, inputting into this software.
Yes.
The insurance, I put it in net GST because obviously that's not complete 10%. So it's like only a portion. How should I put it in? Should I put it the full amount or?
No, you don't put GST in it.
Okay.
No.
Okay. With the expenses, I just noticed
Mm-hmm.
when I'm putting them in, I was putting them in net GST, but it looked like it was then taking the GST from that. So
in the expenses, you don't need to put the GST in, because in the profit and loss, because remember what we're doing is we're emulating a successful profit and loss for the first year. And so when we look at GST, does it come on the profit and loss? No, it comes on the balance sheet.
So what I found is, for example, I know I'm going through all different figures, but I just started alphabetically. So bank charges, okay, $10 a month, that's fine.
Yep.
Now, if I put $10 in, when I go to view the monthly, it's $9.09, which would be less the GST.
So if you go in the setup,
the
first screen of your platform, have you put GST? Have you put tax in there? Is there a percentage that you put in there? It should be zero.
Probably have, yes.
Okay,
I probably have. I'll just double check, but I
change it to
have.
zero.
Okay, right. So hang on, customize setup.
Yep.
No, I've got it blank.
Okay. All right. Well,
because when I put in the net $9.
Can you share the screen? Can you please share your screen?
Okay.
If you don't mind sharing.
No, I don't mind. I'll just have to find it in the software because
down the green button, big green button, share screen.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll just find it in this software.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Okay. So we're looking at expenses. Maybe I'm just looking into it too. Because I'll share screen, sorry. And it's, just bear with me, I've got a few screens open now.
That's all right.
That one I think it is. Yes, so if I put bank fees, for example, $10.
Yep.
When I go into monthly.
So what this is, this here, I would like to see a successful model first before we start playing. This is basically a calculation that can split up that cost coming over 12 months and it equals 100%. So this here is just a percentage of that expense over, if you're wanting to put it into a 12-month cash flow projection over the year. Do you understand what I mean? So it's saying that if your expense is $10,
yep, including, yeah.
Yep, then it's saying if that is split up over the month, that's how much it is per month. So it's nothing to do with GST.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All this is for year one, if you want to have a cash flow projection. Now this expense is per month, so it should be really $120.
It should be. So we do the annual fee.
Yes.
I can do that. See, yeah, that answers my question. How to
input. So that little calculator is just a tool there. If you'd like to say, well, that expense only comes out once in the year, and it comes out in so going to that calculator again. So say if we say that bank fee is it's a credit card fee and it comes every year in January. So we will go January 100% and all the rest we'd make zero. And so then when we look at the cash flow for the first 12 months, it will have that expense coming only in January.
Okay, I understand.
Nothing to do with GST.
Okay, got it. Sorry, I thought it was a break.
No, it's a really good question, and that's why I love questions and sharing, because often people will have the same question, but they haven't asked it or they haven't got to it yet.
Okay, great. Good.
Any other questions, Catherine? So some of those other expenses, they look like they're monthly. They should be annually.
Annually, I'll change it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Who else has got something that's a question or trouble that they're trying to work out? Who's looking at their profit and loss yet to say, how's it looking? Yep, Ricky's great. What's it looking like compared to what you want it to look like?
So with the things that I would like to implement, then it looks good.
Okay, good. So it's looking like it's okay?
Yes, like so year 2 looks good.
Okay.
Year one is okay.
Okay. Is year 1 better or worse than last year?
Well, what I've actually done, right or wrong, is I've sort of based it on what it is we're doing exactly now. So year 1 is essentially what we're doing today.
Yep. That's fine. Totally up to you.
Yep.
So if we're looking at improving, so when we go to your profit and loss, we want to improve it and see, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? Well, always, it's like the top of the waterfall, always start with the product list first.
Yeah.
And say, okay, well, let's have a look at the product list. Let's see what that number is like. And then go to the cost of sale and say, how should I tweak that? How does that number relate to now? And then go down to expenses and insurances and just go from the top down. And then press the calculator. If you change anything, press the calculator on the bottom right to recalculate the numbers.
Yep.
That's great.
I need to tweak it a lot more because I got, like I said, I printed out my profit and loss statements from my mail, which show that I've made some money last year.
Yep, good.
But when I go to profit and loss on this, it's showing loss. So I don't know.
So that's fine. So that was I answered your question before you asked it. So now you've got to go from the top down. So go to the what if button and go to the products list first and say, is that turnover figure at the bottom left, is that right? Or do I need to increase that a little bit? How does that compare to last year's turnover? And if
what was it? Go to the what if and then
bottom left, go what if button and go to product list. That's creating your revenue for year 1.
Okay.
So look at that bottom number of revenue for year 1 and say, is that right? Or is that more or less than I want?
Okay. All right.
And then once you've reviewed that, then go to the next line item down of your profit and loss. As you can see here with this screen I'm sharing, then go to cost of goods. So go what if and go cost of goods and say, are they right, comparable to what I have been running at?
Okay.
And just go down that waterfall of money.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm about over 100,000 out.
Okay. Yep. And that is revenue or cost of sale?
Contract income. I've got a lot more than my program is saying.
Okay.
So my profit and loss is saying I'm doing better.
Okay. So go into the product list and alter it.
Yeah. Okay.
Tanya, you've been very quiet. Can I help? You're muted. Can you unmute, love?
Yeah, I'm just, at the moment, I'm just getting all my reporting into place to segregate into domestic and international products and then putting. So I'm way behind where you guys are. So carry on.
Okay, well, you just let me know if we can help. As long as you're working in it and getting progress, That's an important thing. And as I said before, Paul and I will make sure everyone gets a finished plan by the end of today, or if we need have extra help, we can help you afterwards.
Yeah, cool.
But goal is there's plenty of time to get it done today.
Yeah.
So you just keep working away and please tell us if you need a hand.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, who else needs a hand? How are you going now, Belinda, after what we said before?
I had a look on my coding system. There's nothing there. I've got no idea, so I really can't put those numbers in, really.
That's very, very annoying, isn't it?
God, yeah.
So you've got a system and you can't get information, you can't get reports from it of what margins are around everything.
Never been asked it, never worried about it. That's
Okay.
why, yeah.
Susie, do you want to put us two in a room with Belinda, and I'll see what we can do to.
Yep, definitely. So
Work something on
the challenge is around getting the product groups in and the margins.
Right. Okay.
She had them in insurance and smash repairs and contractors, but then she didn't know what percentage of the insurances were parts and labour. So we agreed to, okay, let's just separate them into parts and into labour, and then because we can get those figures, but then we need to get the margins from them. But she's got software but can't seem to get valid data. So I'll put you into a breakout room.
Awesome.
I'll put you in breakout room 1. I've never done this before, but I'm sure I can do it.
We're going to fly through virtual space, Belinda. We're going to meet on the other side.
There you go. Okay. Let's try. Create. Has that happened?
No, is there a go button?
Okay, I'm trying.
Here we go.
Is that right? Have you gone in, Belinda? No. Oh, Paul gone in. So Belinda, can you see, is there a note saying to go to breakout room 1? Oh yeah, she's gone in there, good. Great. So who else needs a hand? Yep, Damien.
Hang on, I'll just unmute you, I think. I know. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Just with the expenses, because I've just done all the balance sheet and it's not adding up. So obviously my expenses I've done now for year 1, then obviously with year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5, the percentage, how do we add them up? Because obviously the expenses are going to be doubled, if not tripled, by year 5.
Okay, so if we go into, can you share screen with me? Hold on. Yeah, share screen with me.
Hello, I don't think I can because I'm talking to you on my phone, but I've got the program on my
Okay, don't worry about it. So basically, I will show you here. Share screen 2. Okay. So basically, if we go into your expenses, which are here, sorry, I'm just going to click back to get to your expenses. Hopefully, it's not hurting everyone's brain. So here's your expenses. Then we're looking here at saying on average, expenses, I'm getting there. Here it is. We're saying on average, what percentage are these expenses going to be going up every year? So if you want a basic CPI, you might put 2 or 3% in. Or if it's something that you're going to phase out, you'll put mine as 100%, or if something you're going to increase, you might put plus.
Okay.
And then that means that your expenses will be going up every year.
Yeah.
The other expenses that might go up is if you go to the what if button and go to key people, you might be saying in year 2, you're putting on 2 technicians. So you'll have year 2 more technicians, year 3, an apprentice. Year 4, another technician. So they'll be in wages.
Yeah. So that's okay. So say, for example, I've got vehicles in there now, and obviously the cost of 2 vehicles, if we want to double that, say in by year 3, then do I put that times 100%?
Well, you'll just put whatever percentage it is. Or put another vehicle in, put a second vehicle and put year 2, vehicle 2. Or year 3, you could pop another vehicle in. That's probably
cool.
Either way, it wouldn't make that much difference.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll give that a go. See how that works.
Does that help?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
So, who else needs a hand? Goal is by lunchtime, by 1 o'clock, I'm hoping that most of you have got your picture of success, of what your picture of success looks like for your profit and loss going forward. So that you've got a printout of your profit and loss for the last financial year. And then you've got the one that we've got projected for this financial year, which is this one here. So you've got your profit and loss for the last financial year just gone. And then you've got your new one in your plan projected, which is which is this one here. And this year that we're coming into is a model of success that you will be very happy with. That you'll say, yep, that's what I want. That this new profit and loss projection, and then that line here will be the total column for your balance sheet, a total column for your profit and loss for your budget for the new financial year. So that's the goal that we want to get to, that this is happiness in your plan, and then we can tweak the other numbers going forward. So let me know when someone needs a hand or if someone's got there.
Just looking at the historical balance sheet, and this financial year's reporting 0. Current liabilities, director's line, would that be under, say, short-term debt?
Nah, that goes in, that will go in your opening balances of your balance sheet.
Okay.
So you can enter them if you want to now, or just wait till the end of the financial year happens, because generally most accountants would give you your balance sheet and P&L once they've done any journal entries or adjustments.
Okay.
So you can do it now, or you can wait till after the financial year. So basically, if we go into the balance sheet, that's in the setup page right at the beginning, where it's historical balance sheet and historical profit and loss.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's where you put your assets, your liability. So that would be a liability that the business has, which is a debt to you probably.
Yeah, well, this is pretty much will be money that I owe myself, basically. That's what it
so
is.
that's where it would go, but it will probably change over the next week once the financial year's finished. So
probably not, because I haven't really taken I haven't changed that.
okay, we'll put them in then.
Yeah, and there'll be no change with the whole 2 or 3 days to go.
Okay, well that's
So,
fine. And enter them all, then that'll be easy.
Yep, cool. Actually, with the director's loan, that'd be more long-term debt than short-term.
Yes.
Yeah, naturally, yeah.
Did you have a question, Lisa? Just unmute.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Can I just share my screen with you? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just looking at the services for the ore reserve estimation.
Yep.
The way these work at the moment is that in year 1 there is 1, in year 2 there is 1, in year 3 there is 1, but in year 4 there's actually how do I go? Year 4 there is a new ore reserve comes on board, so that would be 100.
I would put another new line item if you want.
Oh, okay. Keep each deposit separately.
If you wanted to, because you could just put that as minus 100% and that's out of the equation then.
Yeah.
Put a new one starting in year 4.
Yeah, because in year 5 there'll be another one coming on board. But if I've wiped them, okay, all right.
If you want to, or you could just put it's 100. Have a look. Best place to go is in this top calculator, under technical, under the the next one down. Keep going down. There, that one. Go into that one.
That one.
No, the one that says technical or reserve estimation.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
The top one. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So year 1 he's got 1, year 2 he's got 1, year 3's 1, year 4 you've upped about 100%, so it's 2.
2. Yeah.
So if you wanted 3 there, put 150%.
Oh yeah, but I mean, what I was thinking, if the problem is if that's one, if I go take that down to none, then I can't put it back in the next year, can I?
No, you'd have to put another line item.
All right, so that's where the line. All right, I think I need to redo these so they're like individual deposits.
Up to you. It's however it works in your brain, and that's why the more detail we get into, the more we want to know, and the more it shows us things we can learn about the business.
So the ones I mean, for me, for like an estimate for one deposit for, say, a mineral resource, my plan is to do it for 2 years, get all the systems and macros and reporting and everything set up, and then I can, give that to an associate to do.
Yes.
And so then as I do each deposit for 2 years, then I can cycle it off to an associate.
Yes. Yep. That makes sense.
So the best way to handle that would be have each deposit as a separate entry, and then in year 3 and year 4, then the cost of goods becomes the associate cost.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Love your thinking.
All right, let's rejig the whole thing then.
Yep. Which is great, because it's the more you know, the more clarity it has.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll stop sharing and get onto it.
Wonderful. So
Thank
can
you.
Stop sharing now. That's great. So you see, I just love the way, the deeper that you went, Lisa, in the numbers, the more you realise, I can get more from this. I can work out more. Now, how did you get back in, Paul? I didn't let you in.
No. There's a little button where you can leave the room. You come back, but we've lost Belinda.
Oh no!
She must have pressed the wrong one and left the meeting.
Here
here she is. She's back. Cool.
I tried to lock you both out, and you come back.
We went. Yeah, that's a bit rude, actually, Suzanne. But you know what? We've got a sneaky way to beat your system, haven't we, Belinda?
Yes,
we can
we
get
do.
back when exactly right. So we sorted. We sorted to move forward.
All
So we're
worked
good.
out. That's good. Okay, so we've got 4 more minutes till we go for our lunch break. And we're going to be back. We're going to have 45 minutes to have some lunch, have a stretch, get some fresh air, check your messages, have a super stretch, clear your brain. Any quick questions before we go for the break? So the goal is that we've all got close to or are working on getting to a happy place with our profit and loss, our model. That's the goal, that we're getting to that happy place, and that we've had a chance to look at some of our reports of break even, of profit and loss, of balance sheet. And for those that are not super number savvy people, a profit and loss, a balance sheet, profit and loss is all our sales minus all our expenses and our net profit. And our balance sheet is all our assets and all our liabilities, everything we owe and everything we own, short term, long term. And the cash flow is the conduit in the middle, because there's certain things that are not coming through your profit and loss that are in your balance sheet, i.e. GST, a classic one. Loan repayments that you're paying the principal of, they'll come through on your balance sheet. The interest will come through on your profit and loss. The cash flow is the conduit that joins it all together. That's why some business owners that don't understand their cash flow very well will say, oh, the accountant told me I've done really well. I've got a great profit on my profit and loss, but there's no money in the bank. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Well, that's because your director's drawings might not be on your profit and loss. They're coming through your balance sheet, or stock doesn't come through yet until it's sold. Stock is on the balance sheet. So you might have been paying yourself way too much, and you might have been buying way too much stock. So your profit and loss, it says you've made a profit, but there's no money in the bank. Does that make sense? So there's 3 things that we need to be learning about in our business, which is our profit and loss, our balance sheet, and our cash flow, and how it relates to both. And today, if numbers is your challenge, is the first awareness of that, of looking at what success looks like for you in your business, so that then the next section we can look at some strategies of how we can impact that and how it aligns with our goals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just add one thing, Suzanne, if I can. There's also the reverse of that people see money in their bank account and then go and spend money that goes on their balance sheet, and then run out of operating money to fund their profit and loss. So it's matching the expense, it's matching the asset or the liability with the corresponding debt to make sure it's not going to squeeze either side of the business, being your profit and loss and your balance sheet.
Yep, great point. Absolutely. So does anyone have any questions that are burning that they would like to ask before we all go and just give our little brains a rest before we come back? And I will actually log out unless anyone has any questions, and then we'll all come back at 1:45. I'll be in a couple of minutes beforehand. So has anyone got any burning questions they want to ask before we all have a rest of our brains? No. No.
You've worn them out, Suze.
Well, I think you've all done an amazing job. There's been some huge awakenings and raised awareness, I think, with everybody, with their business models and what they need to work on. The key for me is that you need to see what success looks like in your numbers before you can go out and make it happen. Because if you can't see what your success looks like in numbers, it's going to be very difficult to make it happen. It'll just be a wish and a fingers crossed. You won't actually know how it's going to happen if you don't know what they look like. Okay. All right. Text me if there's anything burning in the next 45 minutes, but if not, I think you've worked hard since 9 o'clock. Go and have a break. We'll see you back at 1:45. And sorry, the lunch is, yeah, it's not being served to you. I wish it was too. I'll be having something really boring. All right, see you back in 45 minutes.